It's the final contest of the season, and the WSAV CW Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week has saved the best for last.
This is 4th and 2. They're going to direct snap here. Green fights forward. He turns upfield. Goodbye, Ahman Green. Touchdown shot.
Tonight, public school power meets private school pride as 3A juggernaut Jenkins meets two-time state champion Benedictine. In a bare-knuckles brawl for the city title, it's the Warriors versus the Cadets in a final high school football showdown for all the marbles. And it's coming your way now. Now, your Savannah and Low Country Honda dealers present the WSAV CW Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event. From Memorial Stadium in Savannah, Georgia, it's the AAA Region 3 Championship game, and it's the one we've been waiting for on bated breath since August. Public school versus private school, generational talent versus the system. It's Jenkins versus Benedictine and the regular season finale for the region crown on WSAV CW. So great to have you with us tonight alongside Jim Johnson from the Explosive Recruiting Radio Show and SouthernPigskin.com. I'm WSAV Sports Director Greg Talbot. Jim, no one can agree on who the favorite is tonight, so what are we going to see?
That was a defensive battle last year. I expect a defensive battle again. Jenkins has the edge in talent, so Benedictine has to make up for that disparity in execution.
Well, these teams do share a field, but technically Jenkins is the away team tonight, so let's start with the Warriors. Like the Cadets, they went undefeated in region play to get here. One loss on the year. That was to a 5A South Effingham team that was very talented. They're putting up over 40 points a game. Their defense is giving up less than 8 a game. They're talented, but sometimes they get out over their skis, so they've got to lock it down tonight.
I'd rather just be consistent. We don't want to be that ceiling and floor team, and I think we've been a pretty consistent football team all season. Benedictine's the standard. I've said it the entire time. They do what they do, and they do it phenomenally. And like I said, we got to limit mistakes and pretty much just do what we do. We've been in big games before, so I think we have experience. And like I said, we just limit mistakes and play Jenkins football.
All right, here's a look at their Ford keys to the game tonight, brought to you by our local Ford dealers. Jim, number one for them, no turnovers, because BC will turn those into points.
And Jenkins has had an efficient passing offense with not too many interceptions, and you have a guy in the backfield in DeMazio Harris you can rely on to carry a heavy burden and not fumble the football.
Well, this segment of the Friday Night Blitz is brought to you by your Savannah and Low Country Honda dealers. Now is a fantastic time to buy a new Honda. Great deals are waiting now at your Savannah and Low Country Honda dealers. So that's the Warriors. A lot of people think they're the better squad tonight, but the Benedictine system has made them into a powerhouse for years. We'll find out their plan to win next.
Now, your Savannah and Low Country Honda dealers present the WSAV CW Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week.
Well, it is senior night at Memorial Stadium for the Cadets, and we are back for the game of the year on the Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week. Just minutes away from Jenkins and Benedictine on WSAV CW for the AAA Region 3 title. Back upstairs in the press box alongside Jim Johnson from the Explosive Recruiting Radio Show. I'm WSAV Sports Director Greg Talbot. Well, Jim, a few minutes ago we talked about how talented this Jenkins team is. Benedictine, although they're the defending region champs, they are so young. Can they go toe-to-toe with a pretty historic senior class from Jenkins?
Well, and it comes all down to execution. This Benedictine team has plenty of talent of their own. They may not match up to it, but they've always had some talent. The difference for them and everyone else has always been the level to which they execute.
Let's learn a little bit more about the Cadets. Like the Warriors, got here by being undefeated in the region this year. They pretty much steamrolled, with the exception of last week where they almost lost to Beach, but we'll talk about that a little bit later in their broadcast. And as tight-lipped as their program can be, head coach Danny Britt was honest with us this week. He knew this game was coming all along.
In on week to week, and that's our goals are simply set for that Friday. However, we've known we take care of business. We get here. We felt certain Jenkins was going to be here, in this situation. Jenkins is a very good team this year, very good program. Coach Cameron and his staff do a great job, and that defense is something special. You know, as across the board, they're a very good football team, so we know it's a major challenge for us.
And here's their 4 keys to the game, brought to you by our local Ford dealers. Jim, the big one is number 3. They have to rely on their system and their style if they're going to win.
Yeah, you got to control what you can control. Can't control bigger, can't control stronger, can't control faster. You can block, you can tackle, and you can execute.
Well, this segment of the Blitz is brought to you by your Savannah and Low Country Honda dealers. Your Savannah and Low Country Honda dealers are proud supporters of Georgia high school football. Okay, enough talking. Let's play the game we've been waiting for 12 weeks. Public powerhouse Jenkins, private powerhouse Benedictine. It's the region championship next. This segment of the Friday Night Blitz is brought to you by our local Ford dealers. Ford, go further. We are just minutes away from kicking off the region championship game here in the city tonight on WSAV. Alongside Jim Johnson from the Explosive Recruiting Radio Show, I'm WSAV Sports Director Greg Talbot. And we spent a lot of time in this pregame show getting ready to kick off talking about this Jenkins defense. We do briefly want to show you the numbers to dictate just how good they are. Jim, they're historically good.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about the talent in the front seven where you have multiple, not just college athletes, but Power 5 players. Look at the 32 sacks, 9 picks, 16 forced fumbles. This group wreaks havoc like just about no group you're going to come across.
Yeah, and truly, if you look at the numbers in terms of kids who are headed off to college, looks like they've got about 8 of their starting 11 who have college offers. Let's go down to the field now for tonight's Honda coin toss and take you onto the field.
BC. How you doing, sir? Mr. Dorsey. Hey, Mr. Dorsey. Hey, Mr. Dorsey. Hey, Mr. Dorsey.
Number 7 is Ronald Cooper.
Y'all go ahead, shake hands, introduce yourselves, gentlemen.
Number 54, Trevon Lott.
Yes, you got.
Number 14, Gavin Stewart. Number 27 for the Cadets. John Dawes, and number 62.
All right, guys, on penalties, when it's obvious, I'm going to say, hey, White. Whatever you tell me first, I have to accept it. If you don't understand the choices, just say, Mr. Referee, repeat my choices, and I'll repeat them for you again. All right, the visiting team always get to call the coin toss, and I'll let everybody see the coin. That's heads. This is tails. What are you gonna call, sir? All right, he has tails. I'm gonna flip it and catch it. If I drop it, we're gonna do it again. He does have tails. And it's tails, it's tails. So you won the toss, you got some choices. You can receive the ball, you want the ball. What goal y'all like to defend? All right, turn your backs here red, turn your backs there white. White has won the toss and is elected to receive the ball. All right, go ahead, shake hands, guys, and bring them out.
Jenkins won the toss and elected to receive.
And that's tonight's coin toss brought to you by your Savannah and Low Country Honda dealers. So we will see this Jenkins offense and an awfully talented, albeit smaller, Benedictine defense first. You a little surprised Jenkins wants their offense out there first, Jim?
I'm not. Maybe they're saving that defense, that scary defense, for a little later in the night. But I think there is some value in getting the ball first and maybe making a statement.
The Cadets and Warriors both went undefeated in region play to get here. And here come the Warriors. And here comes two-time state champion BC. All right, so these teams have been playing each other for quite a while because they've been in the city. But what's interesting, Jim, is last year when there were a bunch of high-flying players on offenses, It was an awfully low-scoring game last year, 21-6 Cadets.
Yes, to go the other way, where we're expecting it to be a defensive battle, but these offenses are talented as well. That being said, I do think this will be more reminiscent of last year than not.
This feels like a game where the defenses are going to rule. I think we'll probably see more than 21-6, but I don't think we're going to see 40-40.
Yeah, probably not much more than 21-6. The elite talent on both of these defenses. Now, the one way that you could get some points here in this game that's a little unusual is both these defenses are so playmaking. They have guys where if you turn the ball over, you make a mistake, that ball can be going the other way in a hurry.
Absolutely true. All right, here's tonight's Farah and Farah opening kickoff. Back to receive Darius Bush. He's got a ton of college offers, 15 heading into tonight's game. And Gavin Stewart to kick it away for the Cadets, one of their key playmakers on special teams and offense. It's the Region Championship, AAA 3, let's do it on WSAV-CW. Short kick to the 27-yard line. Up to nearly the 40, so really good field position for this Jenkins offense to get things going. And just like their defense, this is a senior-led group, Jim. Yeah,
and Patrick Black's done a great job. Donovan Hall has also done a good job spelling DeMazio Harris, but Harris is the guy who this offense, he's the heart and soul of this offense.
Yeah, no kidding. Number one, DeMazio Harris is a transfer in from Windsor Forest. He came over from the summer, and he has been an absolute monster. And there he is next to the quarterback, Patrick Blake. DeMazio over 1,000 yards and 18 touchdowns on the ground. First play of this region championship game, they will feed DeMazio Harris. He powers forward, stays on his feet, and picks up about 10 yards on the ground and might have gotten a first down after initial contact.
Well, and that's his average this season. He's picking up 10 yards per carry. And that's what Danny Britt talked about last week after the Beach game. You got to tackle, especially against DeMazio Harris.
And BC's got about 4 kids who have college offers. Most of them come on defense.
Yeah, and a lot of these guys are going to play both ways as well. They have multiple athletes, so they're going to have a two-way impact tonight. Names like Trent Brodnax and Justin Thomas.
All right, new first down for Jenkins. They feed it off the outside to Harris again. Picked up 10 yards on the previous carry and gets about 9 yards here. You know what's so funny about DeMazio Harris is when he transferred over from Windsor Forest, everyone knew Jenkins was going to be good. He turned them into a state title contender.
Well, that's been kind of the difference. And they have always, let's give Jenkins some credit, they've always had that sort of lone back where they pick up yards in chunks, but I don't know that they've had anyone this explosive.
They'll go back to him on second down and short. Shakes off a couple of tackles and does pick up a first down to the BC 40.
Yeah, it's not uncommon for Jenkins over the last few years to maybe have a 1,000-yard rusher or your Jeremy Smiths, and he was a heck of a player too. But I do think DeMazio, and if you saw him at Windsor Forest, you knew he had the talent. He's added an entire new dimension.
Now, Windsor Forest is a team last year that nearly beat Jenkins. We broadcast that game live. It was phenomenal. And as good as Eric Phoenix, the quarterback, was for Windsor Forest, our takeaway was, oh my gosh, who's that running back?
Yeah, I'll give my partner Calvin a lot of credit. He was on him early.
All right, new first down. Back on the ground they go. Shoulder run first. And picked up about 4 or 5 yards on that run.
And that's what it's going to take. You know, we talked about tackling. We talked about executing, controlling the things you can control. You got to wrap up. He's going to pick up yards after contact, but if the first tackler can bring him down tonight, they're going to have some defensive success.
And I'll tell you, we were expecting a sellout crowd tonight, and we might get there. There's a bunch of traffic still piling up outside the stadium. It's going a couple blocks each way, so although the stadium is not full now, I would say by the time we get to the first with a late arriving crowd, it's going to be rocking, Jim.
Well, it's finally football weather. People are a little bit chilly. Maybe took a little bit longer to walk out to the car tonight.
Yeah, only took until almost Thanksgiving. Welcome to Georgia, 2nd and 6. BC brings 4 on the line. Patrick Blake throwing over the middle. He had a couple guys sort of in the neighborhood. Pass intended for Keon Gary, but that was not a good throw.
A little bit of an uncommon poor decision from Blake there. Normally he's taken pretty good control of the ball this season.
Well, part of that was Trayvon Locke, number 54, just busting through the line for BC off the defensive end.
Well, and that's going to be the story of the game tonight to me, is both of these defensive lines have an advantage.
And we have a flag on the play, it looks like. And we'll hear from the referees in a second. This is a personal foul on BC, roughing the passer, we are hearing. and that's Danny Britt.
Roughing the passer, defense, hands to the face, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Well, like we said in the pregame show, Benedictine is a very talented team, but they have the smaller, younger roster. They cannot afford mistakes like that tonight. New first down, Blake out of the gun. Pressure coming off the edge. They'll feed the middle to DeMazio Harris. He busts to the outside, turns upfield for a first down inside the 10 to the 8.
Did I count 1, 2, 3, 4 broken tackles there?
What's amazing about it, too, is he's just slippery. He's 5'10", 180. It's not because he's this huge guy. He's just a bowling ball who runs so hard.
Well, and I think he's got a rep as a smaller back, but, man, he's put together.
New first down and goal for Jenkins on their first drive. Blake on the keeper does the wise thing and powers his way forward to about the 5.
Nice read, a little veer there. And I do think Jenkins' offensive line will be able to get some push in as far as run blocking goes. I'll be interested to see how their pass pro holds up tonight.
Well, this is Patrick Blake's team now as the quarterback, second-year starter, 61% on the year through the air, over 1,000 yards. By the way, only 2 interceptions to 15 touchdowns. Smart quarterback. He'll keep it himself here. And dive forward to the 1, bringing up third down.
Well, you know, we've talked about this before in other games, Greg. The decision-making goes beyond just the passing, but knowing when to pull the ball, knowing when to call your own number.
And a couple of really good RPO choices on this opening drive alone. Here they come on 3rd and goal. It's DeMazio Harris on Jenkins' first drive. Touchdown Warriors.
And that drive was a combination of, yes, Jenkins' offensive talent, but also Benedictine not executing. This is now maybe some leftover effects from last week where we saw missed tackles, we saw a lack of execution, and give credit where credit is due to Jenkins, but Benedictine didn't do themselves any favors.
Yeah, I did not see a first drive touchdown coming within the first 4 minutes of that game. All right, this is Taurus Simmons to kick. Rather, this is Rodney Anderson to kick. But we have a flag. Let's hear from the refs.
Failure to wear proper equipment. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Replay the try.
Well, either way, that's not going to take back the touchdown. It just makes it a slightly more difficult kick here. That's Jason Cameron, been the head coach here at Jenkins for just a couple of years. Took over for long-time head coach previously. And here's the kick from Anderson. Looks like they got a hand on that one, and it does fly off to the left. It will stay 6-0 Jenkins. The Warriors strike on their first drive, but miss the PAT. And because Benedictine is awfully good at special teams, that's the kind of thing that could make a difference in this game, Jim.
And we know Jenkins has had some ups and downs as far as special teams goes this year. That is one facet of the game where Benedictine does have a clear advantage. And, I mean, heavens knows we can see special teams loom large in high school football.
Especially in a game like this. Did you see a first drive touchdown coming for Jenkins that easily?
Not that easily. You know, if Jenkins maybe had moved the ball and really worked hard for it, but that one just seemed easy. That seemed simple. Now, I don't know if it's going to hold like that all night, but they sent a message, and I can see why Jason Cameron wanted the ball first.
No kidding. They came out gunning and only threw, once on that drive?
Yeah, a couple of penalties for Benedictine, missed tackles. That was not Benedictine defense on that first possession.
Well, certainly not the ones we've been used to seeing the last 5-10 years or so, huh?
No, not even close.
All right, here's the second kickoff the game, brought to you by the law firm of Farah and Farah from around the 22-yard line. Turning up field to the 45. That ball on the ground. Jenkins says they have it, and they do. Darius Bush fell on it. Jenkins gets it back. Wow. Well, the Benedictine crowd and coaches are disputing that. They'll say he was down by contact. We're going to have to see the replay. Brought to you, by the way, by your Savannah and Low Country Honda dealers. Let's take a look. We're now hearing from the public address system that it's going to be BC ball. Let's see, was he down? I think that was a fumble, gosh. But either way, they're giving this to Benedictine. They're trying to get a playoff because the scoreboard is showing that really it was Jenkins' recovery. But to get the playoff, it's not going to matter. They swing it to Karan Mack, and he's got a gain of 9 yards, and they'll keep possession.
Wow, and I thought that ball was out too, Greg. What a bullet dodge, and obviously picked up some nice yardage there, but that almost went really south really fast.
Well, BC was trying to get the playoff because the replay clearly showed that the call was wrong. And they'll pick up the first down on the ground as they go up the middle to LaShawn Brooks. Let's take a look at this BC offense now that we've had a second to cool it down. First-year starting cornerback Holden Garner is a sophomore, but he's phenomenal. He's gotten offered to Florida State.
And he's just dripping with talent, dripping with potential. If you're creating a quarterback on NCAA football or Madden, it looks like Holden Garner.
All right, Justin Thomas on the carry, picks up about 2 yards on the ground. Now, since Baker Woodward left 2 years ago to become the head coach at Savannah Christian, this offense does look different than the one that they took to a state championship game. But what doesn't look different is the way they distribute the ball. It's always 3 or 4 kids.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that's true offensive balance.
All right, along the outside to LaShawn Brooks, his second carry to the 39-yard line. Short gain, maybe one, bringing up second. And this Jenkins defense, what can you say? They're allowing 8 points a game and 8 kids have college offers.
It's unbelievable from top to bottom, from the defensive line to the linebackers to the defensive backs. Those guys are nasty.
Garner to throw on third down, and it's knocked down and nearly intercepted as well. Wow. So here's what just happened in case you're just joining us. Jenkins marches down the field and scores in 3 minutes, and Benedictine picks up 1 first down and then goes 3 and out.
And you got to make a statement here. If you're this Benedictine defense, that was not Benedictine football on the first drive. You need to send a message here that you can play with this Jenkins team.
What a great knockdown on the defensive end that time. That was Akilo Stone. He's a commit to Georgia Tech. Here's the punt. Really good down inside the 5. That ball's on the ground, it's out of bounds, nearly recovered by Benedictine, and Jenkins well managed to keep it, but boy, that was scary and not smart by Ronald Cooper.
No, that was a dangerous play, and almost 2 drastically bad special teams plays already in this game. 3, I guess, if you count the point after attempt earlier.
So here's Navy commit Ronald Cooper trying to turn that into a big play. He's lucky that thing went out of bounds. Wow. All right, so the Jenkins offense marches back on the field. They went about 60 yards in about 3 minutes. What does BC need to do?
It's all about tackling. They had DiMaggio Harris stopped at or behind the line of scrimmage multiple times on that drive and failed to bring him down all but once, as far as I remember.
New first down, they swing it off to the far side. Patrick Blake connects with his man. That's a gain of about 4 yards on the play. And then a good stop.
Now that's the Benedictine that we expect to see. Gang tackling, flying to the football, and bringing him down as a unit.
Do want to apologize just in advance. It's awfully difficult to make out some of these Jenkins jersey numbers silver on white. But that's what you get. That was Keon Gary on the reception for what it's worth. Second down and call it 7 yards. Harris there in the backfield, and they'll feed him on second down. Bust to the outside. He's got a first. Bowls over a man and gets to the 39-yard line. The Windsor Forest transfer is here to party.
And yards after contact is the name of the game. That's the thing, is he may look like a smaller back, but he's put together. He wears that 5'8", 185 so well.
And by the way, on a team that is so senior heavy, DiMaggio just a junior, so offers will come, although might be FBS D2, D3. New first down. They'll go back to him, and why wouldn't you? And another first down as he's past midfield.
He's looked largely unstoppable tonight. I don't know what you do. At a certain point, bigger, stronger, faster is just too hard to stop. Yes, you can execute, but ultimately, once, twice, 3 times, you're going to just give up a big play.
Hearing a lot of the BC crowd screaming, learn how to tackle, and that is not something that you would have needed to say to a Benedictine team 2 or 3 years ago.
I would have never dreamed in a million years I'd hear that from a big Benedictine fan.
Pressure coming off the edge, but it doesn't matter as they feed him up the middle for a gain of 7 yards. Have they had a run of less than 5 tonight so far?
Not as far as I remember. They had, I think, maybe one stop within like 3 yards, and that's been about it. And it's not that they aren't getting there either. Jenkins isn't out scheming Benedictine.
Well, here's the
They're
thing.
just winning.
The next replay we show you, they're sending pressure off the edge, and Harris is going up the middle and then cutting outside.
And I don't even know what you can do. I guess you sell out to stop him and just try to make Jenkins one-dimensional, but I don't even know if you can.
Well, Harris to the bench now. This is backup Donovan Hall in. He'll take the carry and pick up a first down inside the 40-yard line. This ground game is unstoppable. Patrick Blake has only had to throw twice.
Yeah, and Blake also adding into the rushing attack. He's called his own number a couple times, and Hall does a nice job. He may not be as dynamic as Harris, but he spells him, and with this rush-heavy attack, you need that second back.
Gary out of the backfield. Blake will throw, and that one is off the hands of his man. Really great coverage as that one was intended for the junior Raekwon Allen.
Decent coverage. Probably need to make the catch there. Almost certainly need to reel that one in, but I think he might have heard footsteps.
Well, that's one thing that Jenkins' offense has to worry about, and actually both offenses have to worry about. The passing defenses for both teams are just spectacular.
Well, and both teams have playmakers in the secondary that can take that ball the other way if you do turn it over.
2nd and 10. Wheel route along the outside. That one is hauled in. This is Gary, and he's driven backward. And there's the BC defense for the first time tonight on 2nd down.
Well, that was just a really good individual effort to get out there in space and make that tackle. That was what we didn't see on the first drive.
Might take a second. But it is worth noting as they come out on 3rd down, this Benedictine team nearly lost to the Beach Bulldogs last week. And that turned everybody's heads in Savannah. And Danny Britt, there you see him, the head coach, said it was because the guys just couldn't or wouldn't tackle in the second half when Beach started to make their comeback. 3rd down and 10. The junior Blake's got to throw. Gets DeMazio Harris. What can he do? A ton, but not enough for the first down. Picks up about 5 and a late flag.
One pass. Complete. There's a flag.
All right.
And let's listen in.
Blocking the back. Offense. 10 yard penalty from the spot of the 5. Replay 3rd down.
And instead of taking it 4th down, they'll make him go 3rd and 20.
Some pretty good help for the Benedictine defense, and they have executed better on this drive, but obviously that'll be a nice little boost.
Blake, empty backfield. This looks like a screenplay, and it is. And it's going to be a first down and more inside the 20. Ball's on the ground. This will be the 3rd fumble of this game already. It looks like Jenkins recovered. Lucky Warriors. Wow.
Yeah, just as I'm talking about how they had executed better. Ripped off the huge screen.
But another flag down.
So it'll be 10 from there.
That was Keon Gary with already his 4th reception of the night, by the way, who fumbled it away.
Holding. Offense. 10 yard penalty from the spot of the 5. Repeat 3rd down.
All right, so we will do this again, and it's going to be 3rd down and long again for the Jenkins Warriors, although bummer for them to burn that play because that was a great call from Jason Cameron.
Oh, that was great, and I've loved these little screens and swing passes they've been running. They're basically just extended rushing plays, but that's part of the reason
That's what's working.
that they've had such an effective passing game this year. Not just throwing the ball downfield, but they're averaging almost 9 yards per attempt because of those yards after catch.
All right, for a 3rd time, it's 3rd down coming up. And we'll take a timeout on the field, and we'll take it with them here on WSAVCW. Warriors up 6, but a big third down after the break. The first quarter of the Friday Night Blitz is brought to you by the law firm of Farah & Farah. Here for you, here for good. Well, the Jenkins offense has been largely unstoppable in the first about 8 minutes of this game, but a couple of penalties, Jim, has forced them back into another 3rd and long, and they have not been as effective passing the ball as they have been running.
No, I mean, the rushing attack has just been almost unstoppable with DeMazio Harris. He runs so hard, and it's so hard for one guy to bring him down.
And he's there in the backfield alongside his quarterback, Patrick Blake. 3rd down and 7. And Blake will go to the end zone. He's got a man behind the defense. Touchdown Warriors. It's Raekwon Allen. Rather, it's Tyree McClain.
Love the play call there. You're just trying to protect the sticks defensively a lot of the time. You know it's going to be a pass, but you're more worried about that little dump off to Harris, and he had one-on-one on the boundary.
What a perfect decoy, because they have already used that wheel route to DeMazio Harris twice tonight, so the defense was spying the running back when McClain just got behind his corner.
Yeah, I think everybody in the stadium is thinking number one there. You get one-on-one on the boundary, you got to toss that ball up. Great throw, by the way.
Here comes the kick from Rodney Anderson. Missed the last one. That one does manage to sail through, so it's going to be 13-0 Jenkins. The score of this game last year was 21-6. Jenkins has already doubled their score from this game last year.
Yeah, it's just been a really impressive offensive showing, and Benedictine doesn't seem to have any answer for DeMazio Harris. Now, obviously, the passing touchdown there, but I really think the entire 11 guys on the field for Benedictine are just keying on number one because he's been so difficult to bring down.
Man, this Jenkins Warriors team is so crazy talented. We talked about it off the top of the broadcast. The defense alone has 8 kids who have committed to colleges.
Yeah, and you know, you're talking about, especially in the front seven, I think of Kilo Stone, Torres Simmons, Joe Cash. I mean, these guys individually would be the best player on a lot of different teams. Together, they are borderline unstoppable.
And you've got to know that sometime around next year, they will start pouring in for DeMazio Harris.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. And those smaller backs, sometimes it takes longer for their talent to shine through. But some of those guys are different. DeMazio Harris is a different guy.
All right, kickoffs tonight brought to you by the law firm of Farah & Farah. And Benedictine caught with their pants down, 13-0, 9 minutes into this game, and here's the kick. Short one. For what it's worth, by the way, Jenkins really does not have anyone who can kick past the 30. This is Trent Broadnax on the return, nearly back to midfield with a 48 or 49-yard line.
You actually raise a good point with that, too. I mean, think of the starting field position that this Jenkins defense has faced all season long, and they're still allowing basically a touchdown per game, and that's it.
All right, so we didn't have long to talk about Holden Garner on that last drive because they only got out there for 1 first down, but sophomore quarterback has an offer to Florida State, but it is worth noting Florida State just fired Willie Taggart, so who knows if that is still going to be a destination for him by the time college rolls around. This is LaShawn Brooks to the near side to the 45 and nearly a first down.
And that's what's so hard to stop is you never know who's getting the ball with this Benedictine offense. They don't just focus on one guy. It's not one-dimensional. They have true offensive balance in the way in which they distribute it.
They've got a couple guys who touch the ball, but really it's Epps, Broadnax, Mack, Brooks, Thomas, and sometimes Stewart. 2nd down and short on the ground to go to Justin Thomas, his 3rd carry. He gets to about the sticks, and if he didn't get it, it's going to be 3rd down and inches, very close.
That's a pretty good job by him just picking up a couple there. I mean, if you can at least run the ball with a little bit of success, just modest success, that can put this Jenkins defense on their heels more so than they have been the rest of the year.
He got it by just enough, and it looks like it was BC that jumped that.
False start, offense. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Well, that doesn't do you much good, although I like the up-tempo, no-huddle approach here from the BC offense.
Yeah, you got to do something to keep this defense off balance. Now, granted, I don't think 1st and 15 is a good idea when you're facing defense that has over 100 tackles for loss this year.
And another flag comes in from the far side.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense.
Like I was saying, this Jenkins defense is plenty capable of pushing you the wrong direction on their own. You don't need to help them.
I just can't believe this is happening to Benedictine. All right, now 1st down and 20 after the penalties. Gander throws a screen and underthrew his man, Trent Broadnax, by a couple of yards.
You got to think to some degree that it's just the youth of this Benedictine team. Yes, the coaching is fantastic, and Danny Britt does a great job, but they've also, for most of this run, had really talented seniors that are also really good leaders, and I don't know who those guys are to the degree that they've had in the past.
For what it's worth, there is only one contributor on this BC offense who is a senior. One. Screen play. Intercepted! It's Taurus Simmons, the West Virginia commit. And it's their 10th interception on the season as a defense.
Just so much talent in that front, and you see the reaction there where they aren't just trying to beat their man. They have full awareness of everything that's going on. Look at him get his eyes up and make the play on that ball. He knew he's so fully aware of the play.
Face. No
just
way.
Unbelievable. I mean, we saw that earlier with the Kilo Stone batting the ball. These guys are playing at a level beyond what you normally see from high school defensive ends.
By the way, Taurus Simmons, a West Virginia commit, he will be following now West Virginia stars from Savannah, Sam James and Winston Wright, who are both already making an impact for the Mountaineers this year at the college level. Back they go to the 45-yard line. That's Harris on the ground, and a gain of, call it 4 or 5 yards. This will take us down inside 2 minutes.
Yeah,
wow, Jim, I cannot believe what we're seeing in this first quarter.
No, I can't either. This is really unbelievable. And to me, the most surprising thing is the lack of execution. Yes, Jenkins has been extremely impressive, but the lack of execution and discipline on behalf of Benedictine.
That's been the story so far. 2nd down and 7. Again, pressure coming off the edge from BC. They're not rushing up the middle to stop the run. And that's why it's not working. That time it's Hall. That ball's on the ground again. That's our 4th fumble of the game. And BC's got it. Okay, I know it's cold, but what the heck?
Something wrong with those footballs, Greg?
Well, okay, so I will say I was playing catch with your radio partners from the ESPN Coastal Radio Show before the game. We were throwing the ball around in the cold, where strangely tonight in Savannah there is no humidity. That ball is very slippery.
Really?
Yeah, at least from how we were playing catch. All right, so for the first time in this game, BC all of a sudden has some momentum. We'll see if they can capitalize. With 1:48 to go in the first quarter, they feed Justin Thomas. Turns that into a gain of 3 or 4 on the ground. One of their second contributors, about 300 yards this year and 6 touchdowns.
A little surprised Danny Britt didn't try to go for a big home or go for a home run there. Maybe try to find Gavin Stewart.
That'll come.
Just try to capitalize on that momentum.
Well, that's John Dodd lining up in the backfield. He is one of their defensive stars who has barely played at all on offense this year, but here he is lining up at fullback. You don't usually see that out of him. So Gardner back under center minutes after throwing an interception. And a flag on the play. And the BC crowd is livid.
5-yard penalty, remaining 2nd down.
Danny Britt's going to have an aneurysm at the end of the quarter.
I was going to say, I mean, this crowd has probably never been exposed to anything like this during the Britt era.
No, Danny Britt's teams are known for being system-based and true a fault, perfect at executing. Not so tonight. 2nd down and long, swing to Thomas again, and he's surrounded. Defense got to him first around the 43-yard line. Big 3rd down coming up.
And it's going to be so hard to move the ball east-west on this defense. They're just so fast. The closing speed of all the guys that we've talked about, Stone, Torres, Joe Cass, Darius Bush, they get from point A to point B in a hurry, and they finish strong.
And they're all seniors. They've been playing together for years. Kawan Mack, the man in motion. Flag from the field. That's going to be on BC again.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
Are we going to see a riot on this Benedictine side of the field?
About 1 or 2 more false starts, and we might.
3rd down and 12 for the sophomore quarterback Holden Garner. Minute to go in the quarter. They'll keep it on the ground to be safe. Couple of guys can't even take him down to the 50-yard line. Really good carry there for Justin Thomas, the first one that he's really broken today.
Yeah, and you need that. You just need to show some signs of life for this offense. And I like yeah, that's just shifty. That's a nice little move there.
He didn't quite get there. 4th down and 1, and Danny Britt looks like he's going to keep his kids on the field and go for it. They need some momentum. They need a break. 4th and 1. That ball's on the ground again. Jenkins says they have it, and they do. Warrior ball. That's 3 fumbles in the last 5 minutes.
Greg, you were right. That ball must be slippery. This is unbelievable.
Well, I guess it was 4th down anyway, so it's still Jenkins' ball, but I don't know what is happening. I told you that ball felt slippery. Not that slippery, because I'm not a high school football player. They're used to it.
I was going to say, I mean, I thought this game might come down to defense, consistency, execution. At this point, it might just come down to ball security.
No kidding, and if Jenkins goes up 3 touchdowns by the end of the quarter here, I don't know what this game's going to look like. Cadets look like they're going to bring 4. A couple of linebackers spying on the ground at Amazio Harris. Short gain of 3 or 4 yards, and that's all it takes. If you can get 4 yards a carry, this game's done.
Or you can go all the way up and down the field, 4 yards a clip.
They have. Give them 3 on the play, 15 seconds to go. Might take us to the end of the quarter. They might get 1 more off here. Darius Bush, the man in motion. 4 receivers to the far side. They'll use him as a blocker. It's a receiver pass to Darius Bush. He caught around the 35. They'll give him the completion. They'll give him the first down with 2 seconds to go in the quarter.
A little trickativity out of Jason Cameron. Love it.
It was that Georgia team when he was the offensive coordinator last year, the Blitz Border Bowl, that ran that same play, first play of the game. Jason Cameron likes to do that. It's the end of 1 here in the region championship. We don't know what is happening on the Friday Night Blitz. Jenkins up 13 and looking to go up 3 scores. The Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week is brought to you by your Savannah and Low Country Honda dealers. Just drive the Honda of your dreams at your local Savannah and Low Country Honda dealer today. Jenkins leading 13-0 at the end of the first quarter, and that's partly, Jim, because they have so many amazing stars on this team, and they are showing off tonight. Look at all these kids who either have offers who have already committed.
Yeah, and I love Akilo Stone. He can play in any defensive front. He's got a rare body type where he could be a 3-4 defensive end, a 4-3 defensive end, a 4-3 defensive tackle. He's just so gifted and so naturally talented.
All right, so the Jenkins offense takes over at the BC 35, already up 13 points and looking to go up more. Flag on the play. This looks like a free play, but it's not going to go anywhere. Patrick Blake taken down at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, couldn't quite get a shot off on the free play, but we're going to pick up some free yards anyways.
And let's hear from the referees.
Too many people in the backfield.
Race on the stop for DC. I got illegal formation.
Offense. Too many people in the backfield. Left penalty decline. Second down.
That's actually an awfully good call. But okay, Jim, let's take this big picture as we begin the second quarter. By my count, we've seen an interception, 4 fumbles, crazy turnovers in this game.
And a blocked point after.
And about, probably at this point, nearing double-digit false start calls. Blake goes far side. It's called in by Keon Gary. He almost fumbled that one again. He's pushed back for a gain of about 5. Okay, let's break down the first quarter. What the heck and why?
I don't know. My best guess is that it's been about 12 months since anyone's felt what it's like under 70 degrees. Everyone's just cold, I figure.
Well, not only that, but all of a sudden tonight, the humidity that is so prevalent in this Savannah atmosphere seems to be gone. So this ball is cold, and you can't count on the normal humidity to sink your hands into it, I think.
Yeah, it's got to be a combination of the conditions and nerves.
3rd down and 5. Blake on play action for the home run. Touchdown, Jenkins! It's Ronald Cooper, the Navy commit, and they're up 3 touchdowns.
Greg, this is unbelievable. I never would have guessed that we would have seen Jenkins come out like this, but they are absolutely sending a message, and what a grab by Ronald Cooper. You can see why Navy's so interested. This guy could play on either side of the ball at the next level.
They're taking him as a defensive kid, but what a catch. And you'd think Gavin Stewart actually would have intercepted that ball. He's a very talented defensive player for the BC defensive side on his own right.
I was going to say, when Blake let that thing go, I was like, ugh, that's just a heck of a grab.
Anderson to make it 20. This looks like a fake. Blake's gonna throw. It's 21. That looks like Darius Bush got it. And the two-point conversion is good. He's got 15 offers and he's made a big impact already.
And Bush, that's just so perfect. The touchdown by the Navy commit didn't go into Bush. It's his own handful of offers. I think those guys are so similar and so both just gifted, but really talented, comparable athletes, and they have a great relationship on and off the field, and it's so difficult to defend both of them.
Well, how about this? 21-0. Jenkins on top of Benedict. And last year, this game was 21-6, the final score in favor of Benedict.
And Jenkins is a score away from topping that by themselves.
They'll do it. They have not punted yet, by the way. That was 3 drives, 3 touchdowns.
And Jason Cameron, let's give him some credit, man. He has done a really good job, to me, of mixing up the play calling tonight. On the first drive, they just asserted their will. That was a show of dominance. But over the preceding couple of possessions, we've seen a mix-in of screens, deep shots, as well as continuing to feed the beast, number 1, Damasio Harris.
Well, I'll tell you, this Jenkins team, the last time we saw them on live TV, that was the Windsor Forest game last year around this time. And that's what Jason Cameron has been doing. He was the offensive coordinator, took over as head coach a couple of years ago. They really do run the ball very well, but Jason Cameron loves to burn you deep when you start bringing guys in the box.
I wouldn't change a thing. There's a trap you can fall into, especially with a good back like Harris, where you want to kind of play not to lose. I'd keep the pedal to the metal.
Takeoff's brought to you by the law firm of Farah and Farah tonight. Short kick here comes to the 37-yard line, and the return is coming from James Epps. Very talented kid, gets it across midfield. James, a guy who kind of does it all, about 500 all-purpose yards on the year and 9 touchdowns. Okay. We knew that the Benedictine offense was going to have some kind of trouble tonight. Did we expect this much trouble?
But a lot of it's been self-inflicted, right? We've had, I don't even know how many false starts or procedural issues so far. Just a lack of execution, multiple turnovers. This is unlike anything I've seen. It's one thing, sloppy is one thing. This is a level beyond that.
Gavin Stewart split to the far side. Broadnax goes in motion into the backfield. Looks like we have a new quarterback in for Benedictine as well. This is Cameron Edge, a sophomore, and who knows if that's going to be a temporary Wildcat kind of thing, or if Holden Garner is possibly injured, but either way, this is Cameron Edge. This is not the Florida State offered quarterback, Holden Garner. He's on the sideline at midfield, number 11 there at the 50. His helmet is off, but he doesn't look hurt. They'll run the Wildcat. That's Justin Thomas. Powers his way forward for a gain of 1 or 2. Maybe this is Danny Britt just saying what's working hasn't been working, so let's try something else.
Yeah, nothing has worked for them offensively so far. I think he's just trying to dig in his bag of tricks and establish some sort of momentum, something that they can build on, because thus far there's just really no signs of even improvement from this Benedictine offense.
We knew this Jenkins defense was locked down. We didn't know it was this. Thomas in the backfield alongside Edge. They'll run the option. He'll keep. Takes a big hit at the 41. Did not pick up the first down. It'll be 4th and short.
And it's not like this is some awful Benedictine offense either. As we see Garner, this team is averaging over 45 points per game.
Now, part of that is when you look at their schedule, outside of those first 2 weeks against Blessed Trinity and Burke County, they've been winning 65-0. But that's because you've been playing Groves and Savannah High and Johnson. 4th down, they're going to go for it. Try to draw Jenkins offside. Did they? Referee says no. 4th down, they're going to burn a timeout. And we'll take it with them here on WSAV-CW. This is 4th down coming up for Benedictine, and they might have to go for it if they want to have a chance in this game. From Savannah, the Friday Night Blitz is brought to you by your Savannah and Low Country Honda dealers. Test drive the Honda of your dreams at your local Savannah and Low Country Honda dealers. This is not a sentence I thought I'd say. The Benedictine Cadets are down 3 touchdowns and have to go for it on 4th down if they want a chance to win this game with 9 minutes until halftime, Jim.
Yeah, and Jenkins has just come out and made an absolute statement. Granted, Benedictine hadn't done themselves any favors either.
4th down and 2 against this treacherous Jenkins defense. They will feed Justin Thomas. Tried to get to the edge and he didn't get it. This Jenkins defense is stupendous. How about that tackle from Clarence Betterson that time to bring him down and end the drive?
And that just feels like an impossible task, converting a short yardage attempt like that against these guys, man. I mean, I'd almost rather have 3rd and 5 than 4th and 1 against them.
I kind of would too. Is that crazy?
Normally I would say yes, but look at that D-line.
8 players on that Jenkins defense have college offers. 4 have already committed. Just amazing. All right, so Patrick Blake out there at quarterback again. Damasio Harris squared up as the running back. He has been sensational tonight. Start the new drive. Blake will keep it on his own, and the BC defense there to bring him down for a loss. Really good gang tackle effort that time, and then on the tackle was Trayvon Locke. He's got a bunch of offers, including West Virginia, Georgia Southern, Troy, Air Force, Florida Atlantic, Marshall, and a couple more.
Yeah, you know, for all the talk about this Jenkins defense, it's a little bit surprising how easily Jenkins has moved the ball, because this is a very good Benedictine defense as well, and a playmaking group at that.
Like the offense, talented, just young compared to the teams they've had in the past, which were so senior heavy. Back to Damasio Harris. And you know what? Only picked about 5 yards on the run, and that's better than it's been a lot of the night for the BC defense.
Oh, that's a huge improvement over what we've seen. I think the first tackler actually brought him down too, which might be the first time we've seen that tonight.
All right, 3rd down and 5 coming up here for the Jenkins offense. Blake takes care of the ball as the QB. He's fumbled once tonight, but only thrown 2 interceptions on the year to 15, now 17 touchdowns. It would be an insult to call him a game manager considering how many big plays he makes, but he takes care of the ball. Linebackers drop back into coverage. Damasio Harris along the outside. Bullseye over, 2 over, and gets the 1st down. Damasio Harris, you gotta be kidding me.
Oh, he's like a bull, man. You can't bring him down in the open field, or at least these Benedictine defenders haven't been able to tonight. And yes, he is a smaller back based on his height, but if you're talking about the proportion, he is put together, and he lowered the shoulder on that one.
We just saw Justin Thomas's soul leave his body on WSAV-CW. I'll tell you what, we're going to see highlights from tonight's game on his recruiting highlight film tomorrow. On the ground he goes again, 5 yards like clockwork.
Yeah, man, just pick up a couple yards in a cloud of dust. You can go all the way up and down the field like that, and then, of course, do that again and again and again, and eventually one of those 6-yarders is going to go for 60.
It's 3 kids every time.
And even when Benedictine sells out, they're still giving up a handful of yards, and when you do that, you open yourself up for those big plays in the passing game. We've already seen 2 passing touchdowns tonight on pretty deep pass attempts.
They're drawing the Benedictine linebackers up and bringing up a safety. As you see them getting ready to rush here on a big 2nd down, they're just trying to get to Patrick Blake. But watch, you bring the linebackers up, and Blake's going to burn you. And he does. Goes to McAllen. Starts on the plane. And a 1st down. And Jason I think Cameron is calling exactly the right place.
Yeah, it's just so easy. Either you have a box advantage or you don't. If you don't, you throw the ball. If you do, then let Harris do his thing. And there's really nothing Benedictine can do differently from a schematic standpoint. I do think they can execute better, but I don't think the defensive play calling can even be any different. They have to try to stop Harris first and at least force him to make plays through the air.
You know, on the Thursday Blitz Countdown high school football talk show all the way back in August, I said on the preseason show that DeMazio Harris joining Jenkins turns them into a legit contender. People knew how good he was at Windsor Forest. This is a different level. Actually, he's a much better running back now than he even was back this August. This is a whole new DeMazio.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable this season. He's just taken his game to another level, and I've been really impressed with the ability to shoulder such a heavy burden of the offense.
Well, I'll tell you what, Benedictine knew that they were in for a huge task tonight trying to play against this Jenkins defense. Just ask Danny Britt.
First of all, to throw it, you got the defensive line and linebackers who are extremely good too that are coming at you. So, yeah, it is. You're going to have to be more accurate in what you're doing and more pinpoint. The scheming, yes, you're going to have to make sure you use play action, you use different things to be able to get people open, because it's just not going to happen.
All right, Jim, and I asked Danny Britt that on Wednesday. He was pretty open and honest about it. He's like, yeah, gaining yards is going to be hard.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically playing a collegiate defense right now. When you're talking about 8 guys that are going to be going on to play football at the next level, and that's just as far as we know. There could be some more offers that come in for a handful of them, and multiple guys on that defense. We're talking about Power 5 football players, and I'm not even sure they're done yet. You look at a guy like Joe Akash, got a lot of G5s, highly touted amongst the second tier of college football's highest level, but we still got a couple months. Maybe after the early signing period, we could see him pick up some P5s as well.
All right, time to get back to this Jenkins offense, though, which has been just as good tonight. By the way, DeMazio Harris, 99 yards on the ground already. He might hit 200 tonight. If they don't call off the dogs, we'll see.
He's been borderline unstoppable.
New first down inside the 40-yard line. Some kind of whistle coming.
5-yard penalty remains first down.
All right, just up in the degree of difficulty, 1st and 15.
Yeah, there you go. I think they're just trying to make it fair. Maggio's averaging like 10 yards per attempt, so.
Another 10, yeah. Well, is what it is. Okay, so we are up here. If you see the light, we're waving at you. These are the Benedictine student section and the Benedictine fans. I cannot tell you the last time I've been at a Benedictine football game and felt this negative energy on the sideline.
I was going to say, they look more cold than excited.
That's Jason Cameron talking to the referees. Looks like another flag coming here on the Warriors. Just an explanation, I guess. All right, so indeed, 1st down and 15 now for Jenkins. Harris in the backfield alongside Blake, who has shown himself to be a really excellent deep ball passer tonight. Another high snap, nearly fumbled it. Trying to strip, holds on to it down to the 33, and a flag coming from the refs in the middle of the field. And it's not just the Benedictine side, but I've been blown away by the amount of penalties and the sloppiness by both teams tonight.
Yeah, it has been that between putting the ball on the ground so often. It had the interception, a blocked point after attempt. Yeah, it hasn't been great.
That's Jamale Smith, who's walking off the field. Pretty key player for them, who we have not seen tonight. Looks like Patrick Blake kind of fell on him and rolled on him awkwardly. That's a
First
huge
and 5,
penalty.
face mask, 15-yard penalty, first down.
And if you're Benedictine, you cannot afford to be giving this Jenkins team yards.
No, absolutely not. I mean, they picked up enough on that one anyway. Look, it just drags the defender for 2, 3, 4 extra yards.
And that's not even just a defender. That's Jake Reese, who leads the team in tackles with 86.
I mean, that's the thing is, based on what we've seen so far, it's going to take multiple Benedictine defenders to bring down pretty much anybody who's carried the ball tonight.
The Warriors now trying to go up 4 touchdowns in a quarter and a half against Benedictine. People entering this game thought that Jenkins was probably a better team, but I don't think anyone saw this coming. And here comes Patrick Blake out of the gun. New 1st and 10. They have to get down to the 7-yard line. Harris goes nowhere that time. In fact, a loss on the play.
And I think that's what you need. Yeah, Danny Britt's going to want to play some assignment football a lot of the time, but you just got to sell out and get after these guys. Whoever's the ball carrier, you might bite on some play fakes here and there, but you need multiple guys flying to the football and making plays.
Danny Britt's going to have one heck of a halftime speech for his kids. Nearly jumped again. 5:30 to go into the break. Benedictine just trying to keep it within 3 scores. 3 seems doable. 4 feels like an awful lot.
Might be due for another shot here.
Blake out of the gun. He is going for another shot. You see they'll try to run. No, it was open. Looking downfield. Gets it downfield. Complete pass to about the 15-yard line. Not enough for a first down, though. Really amazing play extension that time as they found McLean.
Yeah, he did a great job improvising there. Kind of reminiscent of Javonte Middleton, where nothing is happening. It seems like it's a busted play. Seems like you should just throw it away, and then all of a sudden you find your man open.
And they're just out here playing schoolyard football at this point. Down inside 5 minutes. 3rd down and 6 coming up. But no deep safeties back for Benedictine. That might be a mistake based on a couple of deep shots we've seen from inside the 20. Instead, they'll keep it on the ground. They anticipated correctly as they got it to Harris. No first down. Now, for what it's worth, this is the kind of thing that might have made a difference in this game were these teams playing equally well. Jenkins really does not have a kicker.
No, yeah, and special teams theoretically could have loomed pretty large, especially even early on after the missed point after. But at this rate, you need a little bit more than that.
So let's see if they decide they want to try, already up 3 touchdowns, or if they want to go for it on what looks like 4th and about 5. Waiting to find out exactly what's going on here. And it looks like the Jenkins Warriors and Jason Cameron do end up wanting a timeout. Well, fans, here in January, WSAV and the Savannah Morning News presents the Blitz Boulder Bowl here at Memorial Stadium. The culmination of a great season pits the area's best seniors from the Coastal Empire against the best from the South Carolina Low Country in an all-star challenge to benefit Ronald McDonald House Charities. They plans to attend the Boulder Bowl this January at Memorial Stadium. Is that Georgia defense just going to be this Jenkins defense?
I was about to say, Greg, I mean, who are you leaving off from this Jenkins team?
I guess I can reveal this now. Jason Cameron is the coach for Team Georgia.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. He's got a little comfortability with basically his starting defense for the All-Star game.
We should set an over-under at how many kids in that starting lineup from the defense play for Jenkins.
I'll set it at 10.5.
As the season ends, folks, we will reveal the rest of the details for this year's Boulder Bowl. Year 1 was a Team Georgia blowout. Year 2, an instant classic that went down to the final play where we saw South Carolina, coached by May River, headman Rondi Summers get it done. Georgia trying to take it back this year under Jenkins head coach Jason Cameron, who, if things keep going this way tonight, can put region champion head coach on his resume. 4th down and 5, Jenkins keeping their offense out there. Harris in the backfield. Pressure off the edge, play action. Blake for the end zone again. Down to the goal line. Hauled in by McLean. He got to the 1, not a touchdown, but they're going to go hurry up and go huddle. That would have been McLean's 2nd touchdown. Really great last-second tackle. I think he might have broken McLean, actually. Here they go, DeMazio Harris. Breaks 2 tackles on his way in. Jenkins is up 4 touchdowns on Benedictine in the 2nd quarter.
Broke the plane on the second one anyways, but how about that? That just shows the attention that Harrison's drawing. Back on the play to set up the ultimate touchdown score. They did on a play fake on 4th and 5 or 4th and 6. That's never in a million years not a pass. And you still saw multiple Benedictine defenders hesitate on the play fake because Harris is just that scary.
That kick from Anderson is blocked. They're not even going to try a play there, and it will stay 27-0 Jenkins. BC gets the ball back in just a second. Okay, so we've been talking an awful lot tonight about all the stars on this Jenkins team, because how could we not? However, Benedictine's got a bunch of stars in their own right. This is a younger team, but there are 4 guys that have pretty solid offers pouring in for the Cadets.
Yeah, Trent Broadnax obviously is super talented, has a nice family lineage. Holden Garner's the one who you're going to be hearing about for the next handful of years. He's just got so much potential, everything you look for in the prototype quarterback.
Yeah, by the way, Holden, he has a short sleep coming up. Word has it, apparently, he says on Twitter that he's taking an official visit tomorrow to LSU, Alabama. What a sweet ticket.
Yeah, not too shabby. I wouldn't mind to take my official visit there this weekend.
What do you say, LSU, Georgia, Notre Dame? Sure, I'll take my visit that week, Coach. That's going to be a great game tomorrow, huh?
He's got a couple more years of these official visits.
Really short kick. Yeah, like we said, Jenkins really does not have a kicking team, so a 55-yard field here to go for BC. Flag coming in.
There's no foul on the play. 1st and 10, BC.
I was going to say that got 10 yards. I don't know what the flag was for, so they waved it off. All right, so here comes the Benedictine offense coming back out now, down 4 touchdowns. Let's talk a little bit about Holden Garner. Florida State commit, official visit to LSU Bama tomorrow. He hasn't looked that great tonight, but it's because he's playing a much older, much better defense.
Yeah.
You're on the Explosive Recruiting Radio Show, Jim. This is your specialty as they run a play here to Thomas. He's got a first down. Holden Garner, why is he so special? Why are all these colleges after him?
So he just basically, at such a young age, already looks the part of a college quarterback, from the arm talent to his basic frame, his body type, and the natural skill set. Those are all the things you can't teach.
And he's going to throw here. Garner over the top. Way overshot his man, Gavin Stewart.
And that's indicative of the sort of things that we see a lot. His box score at this point is never going to indicate his potential, because there's still so much to mature as a player, and so it's from the decision making to the touch on those deep balls. But he has all the tools, and that's what college coaches love.
3rd down and 1. Stewart split to the far side as the wideout. Broadnax, the man in motion, and a flag.
Timeout, Jenkins.
In fact, they will take a timeout on the field. Timeout, Jenkins. Okay, so basically what you said, what we basically said is pretty much the consensus. He has so much upside, pretty good size, 6'3", 200 pounds, just a sophomore. Taking his visit tomorrow to LSU Bama. But now that Florida State has fired Willie Taggart, does that almost put the odds on that he will end up somewhere else?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I feel like whoever the new staff is, almost certainly, unless they just make a drastic scheme change, will try to maintain that relationship over the next couple of years, because, I mean, both for that specific program, Florida State actually hasn't signed a quarterback prospect since 2017, so they're in desperate need of that. And Garner's not your everyday quarterback prospect, so he's going to have a lot of attention on him from all kinds of schools over the next couple of years, because any quarterback coach worth his salt sees this kid and thinks, oh my goodness, I can make him a first-round pick.
3rd and 1, linebacker blitz coming. Looks like he might have spun him down short, actually, behind the line of scrimmage. We will see. Carry went to Mack. Yeah, by the way, other official visits Garner has recently been on included Georgia, Florida, and Notre Dame, and then Alabama tomorrow.
Not too shabby.
Yeah, not bad. And that Jenkins defense, man, what can you do? 4th down, and it looks like BC's going to punt. Wind behind him, really good kick. And out of the end zone, it looks like that wind got it just past the goal line and about to the good field position. All right, so let's talk about this, Jim. Jenkins comes to offense, comes back out, up 4 touchdowns. I think we're probably just going to see some more running here to wind out the clock, and they want to get this game done. By the way, when this game is done, we have a great night of games coming up tonight on the Friday Night Blitz Highlights Show. First among equals, the other great region championship game in Waycross. Wayne County, Ware County, Part 3.
Yeah, absolutely, Greg. If you and I called a Wayne County game a handful of weeks ago, Ware County obviously super talented, and that's a historically great matchup. You just love the tradition of those two teams.
Yeah, we have a crew on the scene there, and then the one below that, Savannah Country Day, going for an undefeated regular season in that crossover game against Johnson County. Country Day can lock up a region championship where they win tonight and go undefeated. Just amazing. Blake swings it out to the far side to start this likely final drive of the first half. Gain of about 5 yards on the play.
And this has just been, I mean, really, I think a pretty impressive statement from Jenkins, because it'd be one thing for them to come in and beat Benedictine. And while even though I think a lot of folks favored them, there's still a statement in that. But to win like this, to beat them like this, I don't even, I think they're kind of telling everybody, yeah, we're the real deal. I mean, you're talking about a multi-time state championship team you're doing this to.
All right, 2nd down and 5. This will take us down to about a minute to go in the first half. Only a 1 tight end look. He's been getting great protection as well. On the ground to Harris. Not a lot doing there. That'll bring up 3rd down. Okay, Jim, halftime. You're Danny Britt. Your team's down 4 touchdowns. They're young. They're sophomores. They're juniors. They're looking across the line of that Jenkins defense. What do you say to them in the locker room?
You know what? I think there's something to be said for naivete. These guys might be too young to know that they're not supposed to come back and win this game. I just say to leave it all out there. They're talented. They have playmakers. Just leave it all out there. Try to make plays, hit home runs, do something, because
throw it 40 yards.
Nothing they've done worked. Yeah.
That's actually an awfully good idea. All right, 3rd down and 3. Back to Harris. Tried to bounce to the outside, and the BC defense was waiting for him. That'll bring up 4th down, and unless we get a timeout, which we might, that would bring us to the end of the half, but BC wants a timeout because they want to get one more shot at the end zone. Basically, I like that call.
Sure, absolutely. You're down by 4 scores. You have to do something. Of course, take a shot.
All right, so we mentioned a couple other games coming up tonight on the Friday Night Blitz. The Country Day game in Wayne-Ware Part 3, the other one. Then, of course, across the river in South Carolina, boy, we got some really good playoff games. First round in the Low Country. Hilton Head and May River both playing.
Yeah, it's great that we're finally here at playoff football, man. It's unbelievable, and the weather's changed. This is what it's all about here.
I am riveted to see May River, who lost on live TV last week in the region championship game to Wade Hampton, did not look like the better team compared to last year when they beat Wade Hampton pretty convincingly. I think May River's going to come out mad, and they're going to come out looking to score 80. But we'll see tonight at 11:15 on the Blitz. Remember, Jenkins really can't kick. Good example. 43 yards to go.
Maybe they're doing like the Alabama thing, where if they were good at special teams too, it just wouldn't be fair.
I guess. Okay, so time for one more big play for BC. And here's the thing about Jenkins. They've already intercepted you once tonight. They've picked off 10 passes this year. Throwing into the wind, into the teeth of an all-star defense just seems like a death wish.
I guess so, but at this point, do you care?
No.
Do you gotta just throw the ball up and do something. Flip to the very back page of your playbook. Find the weirdest, stupidest, craziest thing that you never in a million years thought you'd call, and call it.
By the way, speaking of other games tonight, end of the first quarter, Country Day up on Johnson County 7-6. That one is going to go down to the wire again, I guarantee it. right, Benedictine down 4 touchdowns to Jenkins. Time for one more play before halftime. We've got to go 43 yards. Let's see the arm that got Garner an offer. Maybe not yet. Delay of game after a timeout.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Main first down.
All right, 48 yards.
Now, I don't know this, but depending on Garner's skill sets, he would know whether or not he wants to throw the ball from further back. He might be more comfortable with this, actually.
All right, 4th down. This will be the end of the half. Garner, Hail Mary for the end zone. He's got the arm right to the defense. Picked off around the 10-yard line, and that'll bring us to an end of the first half on WSAV. That was the second interception of the game. Jenkins by 27 in the region championship. Who saw this coming? Halftime show next.
Welcome back to the WSAV CW Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week halftime show.
All right, senior night for Benedictine here in the region championship game. Unfortunately, not a good night for Benedictine and those seniors who might be ending their regular season with a huge loss. At the break, the Jenkins Warriors on top of the Benedictine Cadets, 27-0. Back upstairs here in the press box, Jim Johnson from the Explosive Recruiting Radio Show and SouthernPigskin.com. I'm WSAV Sports Director Greg Talbot, although I'm not sure I know anything else because who saw this coming? 27-0, not us.
This is unbelievable, Greg, and I think you mentioned it's senior night. Well, we saw not a lot of seniors for Benedictine, ton of seniors, and that leadership has been one of the differences.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, so second half, Benedictine's got to do what?
Just throw havoc to the wind, man. Pull out every crazy play in the playbook. Trust that youth because these guys are talented. That's what I was saying before the half. They might be too naive to know they're not supposed to come back.
All right, we'll see what happens. But for now, let's go ahead and take a look at this week's Blitz Inside Access story. Great one with Connor Del Preet down in Southeast Bullock.
As the playoff field slowly takes form, Southeast Bullock begins this week's practice with a sense of urgency. Jonah Jones prepares as if the fate of the Jackets season rests on his right foot.
I love the pressure. It gives me a rush of energy. I love the feeling of the adrenaline just rushing through me.
From the pacing to the run-up and follow-through, his routine is meticulous, all for the payoff of splitting the uprights.
There's nothing you can compare it to. That's the best feeling in the world for me.
That feeling is now amplified, knowing this season his kicks have added importance.
Every time I point a point through the uprights, I know that it's helping a good cause.
Jones is a Kick It champion, a partnership with Alex's Lemonade Stand to ensure every point he scores will help fund childhood cancer research.
I feel like the pressure's definitely increased a little bit more, but like I said, I love the pressure, so it just feels even better.
By joining the cause, Jones follows in the footsteps of NFL kicker Will Lutz. But his inspiration runs much deeper.
My grandfather had cancer. He had a unique form of cancer, and I feel like a lot of people have had cancer. My grandma actually survived from breast cancer. I just saw that cancer was something that everyone's affected by, whether it's through family or through friends. So I knew it was something that I could help raise money for, that it would help out everybody.
People pledge one-time donations or dollar amounts for every point. He reached his initial goal of $1,000 in 2 days. But rather than be content, Jones spends his Friday nights with a new number in mind, $5,000.
It's been crazy to me because I didn't really think about it, like how in-depth that it impacts people, but it's real. Like everybody, all the parents have come up to me, approached me and saying how much they've helped or how much I've helped other families, and it's just really inspiring.
With the help of his teammates, Jones's fundraiser spread on social media like wildfire. And as he neared his new goal, Jones took the field against Beach Tuesday night. Southeast Bullock ended up on the wrong side of this game. But this kick meant more than just another point on the scoreboard.
That definitely goes through my mind when I ride up to kick a point. It just kind of helps keep me going.
Hey, if you know anything about Savannah High School football, you know that the Jenkins High School Band is one of the best we have. We'll send you off to the break with our Blitz Band of the Week and have more of the halftime show after the break.
WSAVCW Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week halftime show.
Man, you might have thought Jenkins was a better team, but you probably didn't see this coming. Warriors on top of the Benedictine Cadets 27-0 here at halftime on WSAVCW. Greg Talbot and Jim Johnson from the Explosive Recruiting radio show along for the ride. Okay, so news came out this week with GHSA realignment that as of right now, next year Jenkins is headed up to 4A, Benedictine is staying in 3A. Seems like they're actually having a lot of Savannah teams from 5A and 3A meet in the middle in 4A. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, if tonight's game is any indication, Greg, Jenkins might be in a different class than some of the teams we've seen.
All right, let's hear a little bit more about that. We talked about it this week on the Thursday Blitz Countdown High School Football Talk Show.
The GHSA released their reclassification alignments for next year this week, and we're going to see some big changes around here. Lots of schools moving up, some schools moving down. But I want to start with the GHSA guys basically deciding to create a whole new region in local schools for 4A. We have schools in 3A and 5A, no 4A schools. All of a sudden, we're going to see a huge regrouping in 4A.
Yeah, I think if it all works out, we see what? Jenkins, Islands, Southeast Bullock, Beach, and New Hampstead in 4A likely. Yeah. I like that for New Hampstead because they were having to travel over an hour for all their away games, right? Being against South Effingham, Ware, and Wayne. I like New Hampstead against some of these other Savannah teams. It was a really good matchup when they played Jenkins, and I think we got kind of a preview of what we're going to see in 4A. The other part of that, though, and there's always positives and negatives with this, is that this Benedictine versus Jenkins and Islands regular season conference rivalry is very short-lived. You know, we're going to see one of the best games of the year likely against Benedictine and Jenkins later this week, and now that's not going to be a thing anymore, so that's a little disappointing.
Yeah, so the other side of that equation is that although some teams are moving up from 3A and down from 5A to join that 4A region, that 3A, all of a sudden, Benedictine looks like they're just going to cruise in that region unless we see the GHSA bring a couple other 3A schools from out of that current region into the mix. Maybe Liberty County, maybe Appling County, maybe Pierce County.
Right, exactly. And I think that would be the route you can go. I mean, you can't have just 4 Savannah schools playing each other in a region. So with that being said, 4 or 5 years ago, there was that type of region. It was a very big region, but not Liberty County, but Pierce County was in that with them, Appling County in that with Beach and some other players. So with that being said, I think, you know, I hate losing, like you said, the Islands matchup with Benedictine, the Jenkins matchup with Benedictine that we're going to have in a few weeks. But then again, the great games we've seen from New Hampstead and Jenkins, that's going to be a big region game probably at the end of the year. And now think about Benedictine going up for region championships with Pierce County, with Appling County,
that's
Liberty.
A good one.
I mean,
you
kind of take some great matchups away, which you like because they're inner city, but put some new pretty awesome matchups in there.
Well, Calvin, one thing that we all knew was coming that we got confirmed also was Richmond Hills going from 6A to that huge 7A region with like Camden County.
Yeah, that's going to be good. And I think Richmond Hill has the athletes to do it. They showed it early on when they played Camden, and now, you know, they won the region this year, and so that makes a big difference. So them moving up will be good for them because then they get to play the big boys and they can and the wrestling stuff also.
And I think the positive with that is that we now, as from the local TV and highlights perspective, we get to see some of those 7A teams on our airwaves now because they're going to come down to Richmond Hill to play. So that's one positive. I think one thing to take away from this too, and they're not talked about as much, but Savannah High moving down to 2A.
You would think to join like the Metter and Swainsboro
That's what
League?
worries me a little is they had a lot of their games for a struggling program it's been tough to get numbers for them. If they have to travel more than an hour now, I mean, that's
2 hours to Swainsboro, right?
But it doesn't cost the school. It costs the school system.
The district.
So let them figure that out.
Yeah.
Allow them to figure it out. They need to be playing lower because they hadn't been good. And I don't even know how Groves moved up, to be honest with you. I mean, to make it more competitive, you bring those teams down and you give them a chance.
Well, tell me if I'm wrong. I guess competitiveness has something to do with it. Really, it's about enrollment numbers.
It's about enrollment numbers, right? And so I think Groves had the enrollment. Savannah didn't. I will be interested to see what region they do join because in a perfect world, they'd maybe move down to 1A where they're playing like Claxton and stuff like that. In terms of just travel might be a little bit easier. I do worry about a team that the coach came into this year saying his biggest problem was keeping kids on the team. If they have to travel so far, that can't help.
Get the inside scoop on local high school football all season long with the Thursday Blitz Countdown. Every Thursday at 6:30, we bring together the best high school football experts in the area to break down the big stories, showcase the top performers, and tell you the best games to watch this weekend. The Thursday Blitz Countdown, Thursdays at 6:30 on WSAV-CW. Presented by your Savannah and Low Country Honda dealers. Just one or two more to go in this year. Want to make sure to join us for that. By the way, fans, WSAV and Ford are teaming up to highlight the fans. We're out in full force every Friday night taking pictures. Visit the Built Ford Tough Fans photo gallery every week and see if you've been spotted by our cameras. Visit WSAV.com/BuiltFordToughFans. And remember, America's strongest trucks are always built for tough. Just a few minutes away from the second half on WSAV-CW in this game. AAA Region 3 Championship.
Thank you for watching the
Jenkins second half next.
Thank you for watching the WSAV-CW Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week halftime show. Stick around. The second half is coming right up.
Man, did not see it coming.
At least Benedictine gets the ball first, but not that it matters.
Good luck to them. Like, if they score a touchdown on this first drive, I think they might have a chance. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jenkins needs to keep their foot on the gas. I wouldn't change anything play calling wise.
If Benedictine, I think you're right, partially what you said at the end of the quarter. If Benedictine comes out and scores a touchdown on their first drive, they're going to believe in themselves.
Yeah.
Jenkins should not call off the dogs.
No way. I mean, I wouldn't change a thing if I'm Jenkins until this game is fully out of hand.
Is there a chance that Danny Britt would ever allow a running clock? It's 35 in Georgia. 35 is running clock.
If they run the clock in this game, that would be, that would be embarrassing.
What? I'm posing a hypothetical. Why? Dan, no one saw this coming. This isn't on. No one saw this. No one. I really do think if Benedictine scores on this first drive, they actually have a chance. I believe that. Glad we have those graphics and that sound. We have things to fill with, which is good.
Every day, the Historic Savannah Foundation is working to preserve our beautiful city, and events like their annual gala are part of their decades of success.
It is our largest annual charity fundraiser.
It's a party with a purpose, preserving the hostess city for future generations.
It's about what Savannah is known for. It's friendly and welcoming.
That's why WSAV News 3 is on your side with an inside look at the unique festivities. Find it now at WSAV.com/gala.
It's here. More horsepower to take you into the storm. WSAV Storm Tracker 3, the mobile weather center that's on your side. From Savannah's most accurate weather team, WSAV Storm Team 3, the severe weather coverage you expect from the station that's on your side. WSAV Storm Tracker 3, powered by Ford and your local Ford dealer.
Look at us. We are prisoners.
All we got is us. It's way too dangerous. Vanessa could be dead.
She could be. My patience is running thin. You don't want to see me when I lose my patience.
Black Lightning. New episode this Monday at 9/8 Central. Only on the CW.
No matter where you are, Storm Team 3 has you covered. Download the WSAV weather app today. Free at the App Store.
What's Uncle Steve waiting for? Glad you asked. I'm waiting for some old school. Line them up. Buckle your chin strap. Who wants it more Texas-style football? But turns out, they got that up north too.
Look out, there he goes!
Vikings, Cowboys, all eyes on Sunday Night Football, because I said so.
The Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week on WSAV-CW is brought to you by our local Ford dealers. Ford, go further. Greg Talbot, Jim Johnson back here at Memorial Stadium along for the ride with you. Although this is not the ride that anyone really saw coming as we get ready to kick off the second half. Jenkins on top of the Benedictine Cadets, 27-0 in the AAA Region 3 championship game. Entering this game, Jim, I feel comfortable saying this. People in the media who watch high school football around here, whose job it is to cover this, pretty much everyone came in saying Jenkins has better players, they're older, they're more experienced, amazing senior class, but Benedictine's system and their coaching give them a chance. Nobody saw a blowout on the horizon.
No, and Jenkins deserves credit, plenty of credit, obviously. They've played a fantastic...
The Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week on WSAV-CW is brought to you by our local Ford dealers. Ford, go further. Greg Talbot, Jim Johnson back here at Memorial Stadium along for the ride with you. Although this is not the ride that anyone really saw coming as we get ready to kick off the second half. Jenkins on top of the Benedictine Cadets, 27-0 in the AAA Region 3 championship game. Entering this game, Jim, I feel comfortable saying this. People in the media who watch high school football around here, whose job it is to cover this, pretty much everyone came in saying Jenkins has better players, they're older, they're more experienced, amazing senior class, but Benedictine's system and their coaching give them a chance. Nobody saw a blowout on the horizon.
No, and Jenkins deserves credit, plenty of credit, obviously. They've played a fantastic game. Their coaching staff has called a fantastic game, but the talent disparity is not as wide as the current disparity on the scoreboard. And whereas we're used to seeing such programmatic consistency, such stability, this Benedictine team can play a lot better than they have.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the first half highlights before we get ready to start the second half. And man, it did not take long. Jenkins strikes on their first drive of the game here.
Yeah, fed Demasio Harris time after time, punched it in there. You see him, and he has been a force tonight.
Over 100 yards in the first half. Can't wait to see what he does in the second. But then, some disaster right away. Here comes the Benedictine kick return. They were lucky that this call gave them the ball because actually that was a fumble.
Yeah, that ball was out. Should have been Jenkins' ball. Dodged a bullet, but the football's been on the turf, 4 or 5 times tonight? This ball has been tough to hold on to.
And the Jenkins defense started right away, forcing a 3-and-out, and then turned upfield. They scored on their second drive as well.
Yeah, opportunistic defense, making big plays in the backfield, forcing turnovers, taking the ball away, and then that offense has been unstoppable.
The offense has gone to the air a couple times for touchdowns, but Demasio Harris until Patrick Blake goes to the air.
Yeah, he threw a really good ball on that one. He also, on his second touchdown, kind of threw it up and let his receiver go get it. It's been a little bit of a mix between the two.
And then the interception from Torres Simmons, the future West Virginia Mountaineer.
That was a really unbelievable play. He was getting blocked, and he still had the wherewithal to go up and make that interception.
Benedictine had a couple of very good plays on offense. Actually, I would say that Justin Thomas, number 10, was the guy who got most of it done.
Yeah, Justin Thomas did a good job. The problem was establishing consistency. You see the ball come loose there. It's been really hard to establish anything with much success.
And then Jason Cameron went to the bag of tricks for first downs.
Yeah, Jason Cameron has called an excellent game so far. Really no answers for Benedictine, and it's just so hard to defend when the run game's working. And that's the one where you see Blake just sort of throw it up. I thought there could have been a play made by Benedictine on that ball, but great job to go out and get it.
And then Darius Bush with a 2-point conversion to get him to 21.
Yeah, we saw the missed point after attempt early in that game, and now it's like it never happened.
And then the Jenkins defense continued to pound. And then looking like the former Jenkins quarterback Javonte Middleton. Patrick Blake just out here extending plays.
Yeah, showed a little escapability, a little improvisation, and made a play.
That got him down to the goal line, and then shocker, back to the ground. Damazio Harris, number 2.
And that play before the touchdown was so indicative to me of how much this Benedictine defense respects Damazio Harris.
That was a blocked kick. 27-0 our score at halftime. Second half, minutes away. So 27-0 it is as we get ready to start the third quarter here on WSAVCW. Benedictine does get the ball back, Jim, but I think what you said right before the end of the half is correct. If they're going to do this, they need to come out gunning and go deep on this first drive.
Yeah, you can't care about making mistakes. You made all your mistakes in the first half. Just go out there, play free, play easy. You got nothing to lose. You got young, talented players. Pull out every trick in the book, throw the ball downfield, do whatever you have to do. If you were too scared to call something in the first half, can't be scared anymore. Pull out everything you got and leave it all on the field for the second half.
Kickoffs tonight brought to you by the law firm of Farah and Farah. Here for you, here for good. So like we said, Holden Garner in this BC offense does get it back to begin the third quarter. Jenkins really does not kick it very far. Actually, that's their best of the night by a long shot, although it goes out of the bounds. So to the 35-yard line we go. Pretty short field to work with.
And with Holden Garner, yes, we have seen he's thrown the ball to the other team some this year. Threw the ball to the other team earlier, and granted that was on a Hail Mary, so no big deal, but
Free kick out of bounds. Ticket team. The ball will be placed on the 35-yard line. First down.
All right, so Holden Garner has thrown two interceptions against Benedictine tonight, against Jenkins tonight, no touchdowns. How do you even begin to think about passing through the teeth of this defense?
You can't care about it at this point. I think you let the kid go. He's super talented, and yeah, he might turn the ball over some, but he also has the potential to lead a special comeback because he's a special player.
Well, it's actually not even Garner. That's Cameron Edge, the backup, who completes a pass to Gavin Stewart, so Garner is not playing.
Yeah, and we saw him miss a couple plays in the first half. Weren't sure if he was banged up or not, but this may just be a different look from Coach Brett.
BC's going to go fast. They'll run the play, sweep it along the outside to Mack. Gets about 5 yards on it. And like we saw in the first half, they're not as big, not as strong as they were in past years, but when they get rolling on offense with this no-huddle look, they're deadly. So let's see what they do. They managed to pick up a couple yards. Here's 3rd down and 2. Turning upfield. This is Broadnecks inside the 40 to the 35, rather attacks.
That to me is Benedictine's best playmaker. Trent Broadnecks has all the tools, especially when you get in the open field. He can turn a little play into a big one. And I love what Benedictine's going here. Change the pace of the game. Play this football game. Play the second half on your terms.
Give that to maybe almost 600 yards all-purpose of the year for Epps now. And Edge will throw to the far side. And nowhere going that time. Loss of 2 yards actually on the plays. He did find Broadnecks. I'll tell you what, really we've been shocked by the lack of forward momentum for the Benedictine rushing game. Trent Broadnecks and Gavin Stewart have been totally shut out of this game because the defense is so good as receivers.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And those guys have no time to get downfield and separate.
Sweep to Epps, nowhere. Push back, big 3rd down coming.
Yeah, and it's really about controlling the things you can control, trying to avoid these 3rd and long situations. Obviously, that's easier said than done, but when you are perhaps out-talented, you've got to match their talent with your own execution.
And this Benedictine team is a group of kids who are going to be state championship contenders in a year or two here, but right now, playing against a team that feels like Big Brother. Edge out of the gun. Turned right into a defensive rush. Huge hit with Jaquez Williams right in his face. That's his 8th sack of the season.
Well, Jaquez Williams has really made a name for himself this year. You're talking about a defensive front with Akilo Stone, with Joe Crash, with Torres Simmons. He leads all of them in tackles for loss.
Offensive line just barely even touched him on his way to the QB, huh?
Yeah, it's got to be a little bit better than that against this group.
Fair catch call for the 21 by Ronald Cooper, who's a really fantastic player, but he's had a couple iffy decisions on special teams.
Yeah, he almost had a huge turnover early in this game on special teams, trying to pick up a ball that was rolling to a near stop, and you saw him lay out and get the ball on that one, but I'm not sure what the harm is would have been of letting that bounce.
Well, WSAV is proud to bring you the latest sports show in our programming, WSAV Sports Now. Every week we're talking college football and the NFL, giving you the local analysis that matters. New episodes every Thursday on the sports page at WSAV.com. Talked a lot of Georgia Southern and Savannah State this week. Georgia Southern, huge game tomorrow at Troy. If they can win that, they are really on the inside track for an Eastern Division championship after beating App State on the road last week. On the ground to Harris to start their first drive of the second half in a moderate game.
Yeah,
what do you think about Georgia Southern and Troy? Troy is not the same without Neil Brown.
Troy is not at all, and their offense has been kind of a juggernaut this year, new high-flying passing offense, but the defense, especially in the secondary, has been really weak. This is not even close to the defense they had this past year, and Georgia Southern, man, they control their own destiny, and all these games are winnable.
Favored by 3 headed into Troy tomorrow. But don't forget, although Georgia Southern might now be thinking, oh, we have the Eastern Division inside track, don't forget, you also beat App State last year before a couple of big losses down on the field. We'll take a timeout here on WSAV-CW for an injury. Jenkins still up 4 touchdowns on the Cadets. Well, the Friday Night Blitz Game of the week is brought to you by your Savannah and Low Country Honda dealers. Get a great deal on a Honda you'll love. See your local Savannah and Low Country Honda dealer today to see what's new. Jenkins offense coming back out for second down and moderate, and we said before the break, Jim, that the Benedictine offense really needed a big couple of plays to start the second half, and they kind of came out after a good first down and looked kind of anemic. Yeah, and I like the way they started. They were just trying to do something different, right? Change the pace, change the tempo, change the quarterback for that matter. But he did kind of peter out, but at least you're showing signs of life and a willingness to adapt to this ball game. All right, second down and 6. For Patrick Blake, a pair of passing touchdowns already for the junior quarterback. He's been great. They sweep it outside to Demasio Harris. He's been a star. He turns the corner. Barely gets back to the line of scrimmage, actually, on that play as John Dodd ran him out of bounds. And that's about as good a job as we've seen tonight of Benedictine as far as defending Demasio Harris. Didn't let him get to the edge, whereas in the first half, he wouldn't have cared if there was a hole or not. He just turned upfield and run somebody over. We finally saw multiple guys get to the ball and force him out of bounds. Justin Thomas also pushed him out of bounds. Third down and 7, down inside 9 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Jenkins would like to start running this clock, making it harder for BC to come back. They go back to the ground to keep running the clock, but it didn't go anywhere. BC ready for it. That'll bring up fourth down in a punting situation. And that's what happens. You run the risk of becoming too conservative, and when you play not to lose, sometimes that's the biggest reason that you ultimately do lose. And when you really don't punt very well, you get BC not a lot of field to work with. That's good news. No, you're exactly right. And obviously this Jenkins defense can keep you in any ball game, but you don't want to allow Benedictine any hope. And right now I think they've certainly got some. Yeah, this game is definitely not done yet. One touchdown by Benedictine could kick this thing into gear. Gavin Stewart back to receive around the 50. Did he touch it? Oh my gosh. Jenkins is saying he touched it. All right, BC takes over as they do roll the ball down. Lucky for them. Wow. Yeah, it's been there's been more than a couple of dicey special teams plays tonight, Greg. Seen a couple absolutely wild ones. So, all right, now comes this Benedictine offense. Once again, the first drive here, the second half, Cameron Edge was running the quarterback spot, not the highly touted prospect. Oh, actually, I don't think he touched it.
Yeah, I didn't think so either. I think you got to go with Garner here and just blow this thing wide open. Let him do something because, yeah, you run the risk of some more volatility because he might not make perfect decisions, but he also has a chance to do something spectacular.
This is Cameron Edge still to go back to the ground. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage on that play. Man, this Jenkins defense is just spectacular. Okay, so let's talk again about this Jenkins defense in case you're just joining us. Entering this game, 32 sacks on the year, 9 interceptions, 16 forced fumbles, giving up less than 8 points a game on average, and 8 out of 11 players on this defense have college football offers.
Yeah, havoc is the key word to me, Greg.
This is dangerous. Gavin Stewart, what a catch! Well, we've been waiting for Gavin Stewart to show up tonight. Now we finally get to talk about him. He's got a couple offers to play for Savannah State and Jacksonville, but more importantly, Jim, actually, he'll probably play baseball or soccer in college. Those are the sports he's a star at.
Yeah, and I love these multi-sport athletes. Calvin and I talk about it all the time with specialization being kind of the name of the game these days. These multi-sport athletes are really impressive, and Gavin Stewart just comes up huge just when Benedictine needs him.
And if you're a Benedictine fan, you might recognize the last name Stewart. His older brother Brad is a receiver at Georgia Tech. He's actually here tonight.
Yeah, Brad, a heck of a career for the Yellow Jackets. Limited opportunities, but always made the most of them, and ended up getting a couple tryouts with the NFL as well.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, hands to the face, 15 to the end of the run, first down.
All right, so a 15-yard penalty, and look at this, Holden Garner now back in to run the quarterback spot for BC. They're going to let him throw, far side for Broadnax. That's his favorite target. Manages to pick up about 5 yards, and here comes BC.
Yeah, this Benedictine offense, this is what we've been waiting for. This is what you want to see, and I love getting Garner back in the game. Again, higher volatility, probably a lower floor, but when you're trying to come back, you need that something special. He's got it.
And they'll pitch to the near side, and the Jink, you got to throw, man. You got to throw.
I'm with you, Greg. You got to open this thing up. You're down. You're trying to come back. You're not protecting a lead.
Well, just look at the size of the Benedictine offensive line compared to those hogs on the Jenkins D.
Well, and yeah, if you don't trust your pass blocking, there are ways to manufacture time. You can roll Garner out. You can create an extra second where it otherwise wouldn't be there. You've got to let this kid show off all that talent. Otherwise, what's the point?
Well, at this point, what does stats mean, you know? Garner is going to uncork one into coverage. That would have been his 3rd interception. It was off the hands of Darius Bush.
I'm with you, Greg. If he throws another pick, he throws another pick.
What does it matter? You're down 4 touchdowns.
You're trying to come back. This kid has all the tools. See if he can pull off the spectacular.
Right, let him throw it. Let him do this. Well, that shows how cold and dry it is, because that went through the hands of Darius Bush, but also through the hands of Trent Broadnax.
Well, and guys have had a hard time securing the football when it's been handed to them, much less, a Holden Garner fastball.
Well, BC wants to kick, and here comes Gavin Stewart. He hits him from 50 routinely on Twitter videos. Distance, accuracy, got it. BC's on the board. That was not the most enthusiastic firing of the cannon I've heard from a BC sideline this year.
Yeah, no, we've definitely seen Benedictine fans more excited at some time or another, but this is a good start. This is a good start. A comeback is like climbing a mountain. You got to take the first step.
I think I read that inside a fortune cookie somewhere. So 27-3 it is. Jenkins going to get this ball back on offense. Although it didn't result in points, that was the best this Benedictine offense has looked.
3 points is 3 points. Better than 0.
But even the way they moved the ball down the field.
Yeah, and you definitely showed signs of life. They showed a willingness at least to throw the ball some more than I think they had. Obviously, the jump ball to Gavin Stewart was huge, and I see no reason to quit that. In fact, I'd take a little more of it.
All right, kickoff's brought to you by the law firm of Farah and Farah. Maybe onside kick time. Here comes Stewart. Nope, he'll let it rip. Great kick down inside the 10. Here comes Cooper. He bobbled it again. And the recovery down to the 10-yard line. Rather, that's Darius Bush. Okay, so 90 yards to go, and the Jenkins offense comes back out. Patrick Blake has looked really impressive at quarterback tonight. I know we're all over DeMazio Harris. He's been a star. But I've been really kind of blown away by the ease and touch that Patrick Blake has showed passing the ball.
Yeah, and a lot of his production has come on some screens and swings, but you're exactly right. On multiple both 2 touchdown passes and what was effectively
really
a touchdown pass
yeah.
after the punch in. He's shown an ability to change up his throws, and he has a full arsenal where he can throw the deep ball and put some touch on it. He can also sling that thing in there to a tight window when he needs to.
All right, so 90 yards to go. And the Benedictine team seems to have a little momentum going. So let's see if there's a possible game turnaround in the mix here. Gary on the sweep. Gain a 1 or 2 before he's swept back. Okay, BC, maybe you got something going.
And this is more of what I expected from Benedictine, where, yeah, they may not have the same level of defensive talent that Jenkins defense has, but they can still execute, they can still tackle. We didn't see that in the first half. We've seen it now on consecutive possessions, at least thus far in this possession in the second half, and that'll be the difference. If they can just force a couple 3-and-outs, get the ball back quickly, and get good field position, because you know Jenkins' special teams is less than stellar, we'll say. They're going to give themselves an opportunity to pull off the comeback.
In really 2 touchdowns, you feel like you're right back in this game, do you not?
Oh, absolutely.
I think 14 points is the place where you're like, okay, not only were we back, but we could possibly win. But they need to force another kick or turnover for Jenkins to get that to happen. Blake out of the gun inside his own goal line. BC brings a couple. Harris on the ground, beats him past the 15-yard line, gets out of the shadow of their own goalpost.
Obviously nice to get out of your own end zone. I do wonder if Jenkins is running the risk now on these consecutive. Now, obviously that's a great play, and Harris is going to make those plays more often than not. But I wonder if Jenkins is running the risk of becoming too conservative. I wouldn't mind them going back to some of those screens. You don't have to throw those deep balls, but some of the screen plays to get the passing game involved, the way we saw pretty much most of the first half outside of the initial drive.
Yeah, the clock is also your friend if you're Jenkins, though, as they feed Harris. They want to keep it on the ground, bringing up 3rd down and 1. But every 30 seconds you get to burn is 30 less seconds you give BC to wake up.
Sure, I mean, you're absolutely right, and they are playing with a lead. And it's a fine line to walk between playing smart and keeping the ball, keeping Benedictine's offense off the field without playing not to lose.
Third down and 1. Look for DeMazio Harris coming out of the backfield. Let the big boy eat. And the big boy's got a first down as he turns upfield and goes airborne. What a tackle from Justin Thomas to wake up the stands as he gives him a pile driver.
And that's been a handful of big plays from Justin Thomas. He's felt to me like sort of the lifeblood of this Benedictine team so far. Just laid the lumber on that one. Can't teach him much better than that.
He sat around watching the WWE as a kid. I think that's what I see there. All right, so a new first down for Jenkins, and DeMazio Harris might want a minute, but actually he's back out there. BC brings linebacker pressure. Harris can't shake him, short game. And that'll take us down inside 3 minutes. This is exactly what they want. Although they are not moving that far down the field, they took over from around the 10. They've only gone about 15 yards. They've already eaten a couple minutes off that clock.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world for Jenkins to not be ripping off too big of plays and giving Benedictine an opportunity to get the ball back. Just milking that clock.
And I don't know if you can hear it on the microphones here at Memorial Stadium, but the wind is just starting to howl here in Savannah. And you're not used to having it swirl this high and this cold. This almost feels like you're playing football in a different part of the country. Our storm tracker here at WSAV says 20-mile-per-hour winds and flags coming in. Sorry, 18 miles an hour and flags coming in. And Jenkins wants a timeout they didn't want. A delay of game penalty. Not a big surprise, I guess. All right, folks, well, WSAV is a proud member of the Jacksonville Jaguars TV network, where every Sunday is Jags Day. If you're not keeping up with them, you're missing out, because it's a wild time to be a fan with everything that's happened recently. Get your fill of Jaguars football every Sunday at noon with Jaguars Weekend on the CW. Better than Sunday brunch with your in-laws. Sundays at noon on WSAV CW. Nick Foles is back this week. Although, I'm more of a Minshew guy myself.
Understandably. You can't pay Nick Foles all that money to sit on the bench, right?
I know, but so do you play 2 QB system? Do you try to? You can't trade Minshew for assets after how good he's been.
No chance. You're keeping Minshew. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world for him to get to kind of sit the rest of the year, though.
Yeah, but you just paid all that money for Foles to be your #1 guy.
You did, but I'm not sure you won't be able to deal him in the offseason. The Jaguars are right in the playoff picture. I think you play the vet and then give Minshew his shot in the future. This is not the end of Gardner Minshew.
All right, Blake will throw. Led his man, really good first down and more. Gain of more than 15. Falls on the ground again. Trent Broadnax recovers. That's 5 fumbles on this game. I'll tell you, 56 degrees feels like colder with the swirling wind chill on the field.
Yeah, and it's been really hard.
And it's dry.
Yeah, it's been so difficult for anybody to keep much control of the ball. And I don't even think it's bad ball security. It seems like something's up, because, I mean, this many fumbles, this many drop balls, this many mistakes is at a certain point.
Well, in case you're just joining us, I was saying to Jim during the first half of this broadcast, on the field, we were playing catch before the game, and not only was that ball slippery because it was cold, the air is also so much drier than it usually is. So the combination of the dry ball and the wind and the fact that it's 30 degrees colder than it normally is for a high school football game here, it's really been difficult to even hold on to the ball.
Yeah, I'm almost surprised by how many awesome catches we've had. We've had some pretty impressive grabs in this game with guys going up and getting it, and yet, by the same token, multiple fumbles. Ball carrier's not able to hold on to it.
Well, they did not rule that a fumble, although that looked like a fumble probably should have been called to me. That appeared to be out before he went down, although it doesn't matter. No replays in Georgia high school football. All right, so Garner goes out of the gun. 3rd down and 12 for BC after the loss. Low snap, here comes pressure. He's gonna uncork one into coverage, and it's off the hands of James Epps. And I don't know if you can hear that on our natural microphones here, but the BC crowd is really not happy with this effort tonight.
Yeah, not psyched about it.
Not psyched, Greg.
Yeah, you should catch that ball. But again, I'm not even sure how we've seen like Gavin Stewart's catch, and yet we can't carry the ball on a handoff. I don't know. I don't get it. It seems really difficult to secure the ball. Now that one he should have caught.
Well, BC just punted it away. And it is recovered by Ronald Cooper. Okay, so Jenkins is going to get the ball back. But see, I like that play calling.
Yeah.
Look, just you're down 4 touchdowns. Let Garner air it out, whatever.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'm totally with you. I think that was the right play call. And Garner threw a good ball there.
It was a good pass.
That's either caught or it goes incomplete. There was no other choice there. It's a perfectly thrown ball, and it should have been caught, quite frankly, under normal circumstances, although this seems like a wet bar of soap.
All right, well, it feels like they were just on the field because they were, but out comes the Jenkins offense again, and if things go the way they want, a couple of run plays that'll take us down to the end of the 3rd quarter tonight in the region championship game. And these Jenkins Warriors are well on their way to stealing back the region championship from the Benedictine Cadets. turning upfield. Nearly a first down on the ground that time for Keon Gary, but flags coming in. And that one's coming back. Not a big surprise on an extended play around the corner like that, huh?
You know, just thinking about it, another reason I like the play calling for Benedictine on that last drive is if you're taking shots, even if you go 3 and out, it's better to go 3 and out than honestly sustaining a drive at this point and not coming away with points.
And actually, I would say if you have resigned yourself to the fact that with each passing drive coming back feels less and less like a direct possibility.
Offense. Half the distance to the goal line. Repeat first down.
And you're not worried about turnovers, why not give Garner the chance to practice throwing into a college secondary?
Oh, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, this is obviously an elite defense, but you've got nothing to lose.
Right.
Just let him sling it, man.
I would start next drive.
Yeah. Because even if you turn the ball over,
well, he's going to be a college player. Let him throw against college players.
Sure. I mean, it's going to be better for him in the long run. And also it's your best opportunity to win this game.
All right, Patrick Blake's going to dump one off along the outside. That ball's on the ground again. I think it got out of bounds around the 50, and it did. Although that will stop the clock for just a second at 58.6.
Yeah, and Benedictine's going to get the ball back with great field position. Theoretically, don't want to jinx it here, but theoretically should get the ball back with fantastic field position. You take a shot immediately.
I would go first play.
Yeah, you don't even think about it.
Just send Braun next. Let him go one-on-one. Trent's going to be a future college football player. Give him a chance to go head-to-head with Darius Bush.
Absolutely.
Torres Simmons from West Virginia.
Absolutely. Broadneck's on one side, Gavin Stewart on the
go.
other. Give somebody a shot. Give him a chance.
I don't know what it could possibly cost you at this point.
Yeah, I mean you can play pretty free and easy. You have nothing to lose at this point.
Well, you have a playoff spot locked up too. BC, by the way, unless they win this game, is taken down for a short gain on the play, third down. BC, assuming they can't pull this off, they're still going to be the number 2 seed out of this region. You still have a playoff spot.
A home playoff game.
Yeah, still have a home playoff game next week, so why not just uncork it? Third down coming as the wind is really starting to come, and it's feeling awfully cold here at Memorial Stadium. Although if you're playing for Florida State in the future or somewhere else, if you're Holden Garner, you're going to have to play at a Big Ten school where it's cold on the road. Give them the experience. All right,
absolutely.
This could be the end of the third quarter here. If not, it'll be one more play because it's third down. Pressure along the outside. Blake, great pass over the middle, but it's incomplete. Again, it is so hard to hold on to the ball tonight. I can't imagine what it feels like on your hands trying to catch a bullet when it is so, I mean, your hands, if you're from Georgia, this ain't Pennsylvania. So you're not used to catching hard passes in cold weather. It probably feels like a rock on your hands.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, this is pretty strange to these kids, I'm sure. And in some ways, it's even more impressive that we have had more than a handful of pretty awesome grabs tonight. I mean, I don't know how these guys are coming up with these plays. And then you see those drops like that. And for Benedictine on the flip side in the previous possession.
All right, Stewart back deep to receive, although it's not going to get deep. That's Broadnex from the 45, and here he goes. To the 40, Broadnex with some blockers inside the 30. Fights forward to the 25. Late push out of bounds, no flags coming in. They'll get good field position to start the fourth quarter, and although they're down 27-3, I kind of think Benedictine has a chance here in the fourth quarter. We'll see next. From Savannah, the Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week is brought to you by our local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. All right, getting ready to start the fourth quarter. Benedictine down 27-3 in this AAA Region 3 championship game. A lot of people thought that Jenkins might be the better team, but nobody saw this coming. But BC gets the ball back. Great field position about the Jenkins 25. And they'll go to the ground. Really great carry. Down inside the 10-yard line. First touch of the game for Jordan Bean.
nice misdirection there. And I think that's more to our larger point. We do want Garner to throw the ball, and that's fine, but it's just about being different.
Back to the ground they go, and that play driven down for, man, maybe no gain at all. It was Dontavius Hamilton. All right, so misdirection and passing is how this is going to be, right?
Yeah, misdirection, passing. If you have a trick play that you haven't used, bust it out right now. I mean, yeah, everything you got.
Jordan Bean in the backfield, but Garner's going to throw into coverage for Stewart and over the head of him. Darius Bush on coverage. I kind of think that Garner would actually rather be back at the 25.
I think so, too. He's got that big arm, and I think the touch is more that he's developing. Those little corner throws like that are some of the hardest throws to make, even one-on-one with a good player like Stewart on the other end of it. It's just a tough throw.
3rd and goal from the 8. He's going to try again. That one, he went over the middle. He was looking at his receivers off as he went to Broadnax and undershot him by quite a bit. Good coverage by Ronald Cooper, the Navy commit.
Yeah, step one was good. Looked at the defensive backs off and had Broadnax in a pretty good spot. Step 2 is completing the pass, threw it low and behind him. That's not a catchable ball.
Well, this is 4th down, and it looks like they're keeping the offense on the field because why not? I like this call from Danny Britt. Broadnax in motion. They went to the ground to Bean, and he didn't get anywhere. That's a turnover, and the fans are not happy. I like the call to go for it on 4th down. I don't think I like the play call.
I don't think you can run the ball in that situation, particularly against this defense. On almost any defense, that's going to be a pass 99 times out of 100. Against this defense, that needs to be a pass 200 times out of 100.
Well, the size of that Jenkins defense and the size of the BC offensive line in comparison, that's just the wrong math equation in your favor.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a fair expectation to put on your team to win that battle in that situation.
All right, well, if Benedictine was going to do it, I think that was probably their best chance. So let's see if the defense can get a stop, because if not, if Jenkins takes this thing down the field and melts the clock, that's going to be the beginning of the end. That's DeMazio Harris. Good gain past the 15-yard line.
And maybe it's too little too late. Maybe it's not. We'll see. But this Benedictine defense deserves a lot of credit for the way they've played in the second half. Even if the offense has struggled to get stuff going, the Benedictine defense so far has played markedly better. And regardless of the outcome, that's going to give them a lot of momentum as they go into the postseason.
All right, so 2nd down. Back on the ground they go. Short gain. DeMazio Harris approaching 140 yards rushing on the night. And I'll tell you, if they had kept the pace up on offense in the 3rd quarter, he'd be toward 200.
Yeah, he's been stellar, especially in the first half. And I keep going back to that first drive where it was basically him over and over and over again, bouncing off ball carriers, running through would-be tacklers.
That first drive was unforgettable.
He set the tone for the entire ball game.
Yep. Down inside, 10 minutes to go in this one. 2nd down and 4. Big hit on Blake as he tried to get to the outside and nothing doing there. 3rd down coming up.
This has been an admirable performance.
Rather, 4th down coming up.
Admirable performance from this Benedictine defense, and they can be proud of the way they've played in the second half so far. And that does bode well, I think, for their postseason run, their impending postseason run.
Yeah, don't forget, just because these teams look awfully different on the field tonight does not mean that significant playoff runs aren't coming for both of them. Now, of course, the difficult thing is you do have teams in 3A like Cedar Grove. So you start playing elite teams once you get to that round of 8 teams left. But when you play in Georgia, you have 32 teams in the freaking bracket, Jim. Like, both of these teams might end up in the 3rd round.
Oh, no question about it, Greg.
High kick, wind spinning it past the 50. About 55 yards to go here for Benedictine in this one. Okay, so that's what I do want to talk about with you now. Let's get to that. Playoff teams. Jenkins is absolutely blowing me away. This is a team that could play in the 3A Final Four.
Yeah, I think so, clearly. This defense is remarkable. That is elite. And when they break it wide open, the offense can be pretty darn good, too.
All right, by the way, great weekend of sports coming up on WSAV this weekend. Friday Night Blitz highlight show tonight at 11:15. Vikings-Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. Our Puppy Picks Puppies are 7-2. They like the Vikes. 1st and 10, BC gets the ball back. Turn up field, gain of 5 on the play. That was Epps. All right, the Jenkins band across the field. You can hear those horns blaring. They are playing, they are dancing, they are celebrating. The Jenkins Warriors fan base thinks they are starting to see this one get wrapped up.
Yeah, this has been a statement game for Jenkins, and going into the postseason, they're going to take a lot of momentum with them on both sides of the ball. We knew about this defense, but what they've done, especially in the first half when they were really running their offense to a very talented playmaking Benedictine defense, has been especially impressive. They're dangerous.
All right, and not only is it the defense that's just been so phenomenal, truly, it's really most of the senior class, and Jason Cameron was talking all about them this week.
Definitely excited, but at the same time, this group is so unique that nothing's ever too big or too small for them. You know, we traveled to Calhoun last year, game 13, and you would think it was the same as game 1, which is a good thing. I think if they were too excited or too down, I'd kind of be concerned, but they've pretty much been even-keeled.
All right, back to live action. Trent Broadnax hauls it in at the 20.
That's what you can't teach. That's the thing you can't teach. A frozen rope down the sideline like that.
Just go for it.
That's what makes him special.
You guys talk about him a lot on the Explosive Recruiting Radio Show?
Yeah, he's the real deal. And he's got every tool you want. That's the thing is, he may not have put it all together yet.
Bean. There he goes! Great run, Mr. Bean, touchdown! And BC, their first of the night in the fourth quarter. Although it looks like he ran into a cameraman. Well, he scored a touchdown, Jordan Bean. Let's see exactly how this went down. Went flying, hit a cameraman on the sticks. Broke the tripod. That's why you shouldn't be having a camera on the sticks. Don't have it on a tripod in the end zone. That's just dangerous for the tripod.
Yeah, I think typically you're not allowed. I know at college games you're not supposed to have.
Yeah, you're not supposed to have a
there.
tripod on the sideline. Oh, well.
That you see why.
We're going to have to buy a new tripod. Anyway, Benedictine did what I was wondering if they were going to do this. I entered this game thinking BC's definitely going to get past that 8-point threshold that Jenkins' defense has not been allowing. They finally did, and I was wondering if that was actually going to happen.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a huge surprise. I mean, the fact that it's taken this long, maybe to some degree, but perhaps this is the sort of offense we should have seen from Jenkins, for Benedictine, for most of the night. They should have adapted a little earlier on.
Went for 2, didn't get it. Jenkins ball next. From Savannah, the Friday Night Blitz is brought to you by your Savannah and Low Country Honda dealers. Get a great deal on a Honda you love only at your Savannah and Low Country Honda dealer. Okay, Jenkins defense finally gives up a touchdown to Benedictine midway through the fourth quarter. 27-9 is our score. Is it onside kick time?
Yeah, I think it is. If you get the 2-point there and make it a two-score game, you can trust your defense with how well they played in the second half. 8 minutes left, 3-score game. I think you got to get the ball back right now.
This might be it. Kickoffs tonight brought to you by Farah and Farah. It remains to be seen whether onside kicks are also brought to you by the law firm of Farah and Farah. Gavin Stewart is a soccer star at BC. Scored 6 goals in a state championship soccer game 2 years ago, so he knows what he's doing as a kicker.
And it's worth noting how hard it's been to secure the ball tonight. It's going to be tough to reel that thing in.
If he looks like he's going to let this one go. It is an onside kick. This looks short. And actually the flag comes in from the 40. They might have said the team jumped. That's brutal.
Offside, ticketing, 5-yard penalty.
Well, they'll do it again, but that's an absolute killer. Oh, and they're right on your side. Yep.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Benedictine. They had played pretty mistake-free football in this second half after a really sloppy first half.
True.
And that one, you're just a little bit over-eager. You really want to get that ball, man. I love the call. I think that's the right decision in that moment. And it's just unfortunate.
But now look at Jenkins. They have a bunch more kids lined up at the 45 ready for an onside kick. They have a much higher front line here just in case on the hands team. They'll go again. High bounce. That ball's on the ground. Looks like BC got a finger on it. And they recover. Here come the Cadets, but a flag comes in. That might just be extracurricular activity. Jenkins got it. BC said they did. We'll see the official call from the refs and that flag. Jenkins appears to have recovered that ball. Although I thought BC had a whole arm on that, did it not?
I did too.
See, BC had a whole arm on that ball, and then Jenkins recovered.
And Jenkins, well, and I wonder if the flag is not interference. Jenkins did touch it before the 10 yards, which puts it in play, but I can't help but wonder if the catching player was interfered with.
Huh. See, this we're allowing replay would matter.
Over 10 yards by the neutral zone. Have a legal block on red. It'll be white ball after forfeit of the penalty, 1st and 10.
All right, good news for Jenkins all around. I hear you shaking there, Jim. It's awfully cold.
It is really cold, man. And this
in case you're wondering what that sound was, that was our friend Jim Johnson. And Danny Britt not happy. Understandably so.
No, but I think that was the right call there.
Oh,
I do think
sure.
he was interfered with pretty clearly. And, man, I give Gavin Stewart some credit. Those were two really good onside kicks.
Really good. In fact, both of them almost recovered.
And that's tough to do.
Especially considering how much bigger the kids on the hands team for Jenkins are compared to Benedictine. And now Jenkins gets a short field to work with 37 yards.
This is clearly going to be Jenkins' best starting field position of the second half.
That's why I thought BC recovered, because they had a player who had it, spun it, and then let it go. All right, so a short field, about 37 yards here for Jenkins. They'd like to start to wind this thing down on the ground. DiMaggio Harris inside the 35, down toward the 30. Great run, gain of 6. And a late hit on the sideline.
Yeah, I tell you what, DiMaggio Harris just played a fantastic game.
I would say he's lined himself up pretty well to possibly be our Farah top performer of the game. Actually, that might have put him in 150 yards. If not, the next run will.
Yeah, a little stiff arm tacked on at the end. That kid is strong. He packs a lot of punch.
Second down and 4. Blake to throw. Uncorking it again. Off the hands. Incomplete. Went back to Keon Gary. Man, they've been using him a lot tonight.
Man, this time last week, that's probably a caught ball. It's just really tough to bring that thing in.
It's freezing. Because I know it says whatever at 56 degrees here in Savannah. The wind chill has brought it down to the mid-40s.
Well, you're just not used to playing in it either. I mean, it.
Well, it was what, 80 degrees 2 weeks ago?
That's what I'm saying. That's Georgia football for you. Yeah. We're in the last week of the season, and this is when it's finally football weather.
That's correct. Third down and 4 yards. Inside 8 minutes. And DiMaggio Harris stopped for a loss. Great stop by BC bringing up 4th down, but I think this is still go-for-it territory for Jenkins. Because they don't have a real kicker. Well, why not? It looks like they're going to keep Patrick Blake out there to go for it on 4th down because...
Yeah, you're not going to pick anything up punting.
It's not punt territory. It's certainly not kick territory for anyone outside of Richmond Hill or maybe Benedictine with Gavin Stewart. Looks like they're going to go for it on 4th down and 5 after the loss of 1. Two safeties, neither of them back very far. Man in motion. And BC jumped on the side. They just gave Jenkins a 1st down. That was Parker Miller on the outside.
And he knew it too.
Offside. Defense. 5-yard penalty results in a 1st down.
Just uncharacteristic mistakes tonight out of Benedictine. And the second half for this defense has been way better, just light years better. But little stuff like that is the difference between the senior-laden teams of yesteryear and this young group.
And I'll tell you what I've been awfully impressed with too here, Jim, is I know that we are all over how great DeMazio Harris and Patrick Blake and the skill players for Jenkins have been tonight. Benedictine has a couple guys on the line who are future college linemen. And the fact that we have not heard a lot from them tonight shows how good the Jenkins offensive line has actually been too.
That's a great point, Greg. I thought going into this game,
and a flag.
Little extracurriculars. I thought going into this game, both of these defensive lines would have a significant advantage over the opposing offensive lines, and that would be where the game was won in the trenches. Jenkins' offensive line has been lights out.
Although DeMazio Harris is on the ground, and this would be really horrible in a game that is this far out of reach. Let's take a look at the replay brought to you by your Savannah and Low Country Honda dealers. Watch his leg. Oh, I don't like the direction his right leg went. Oh, ow. His left leg, my mistake.
15-yard penalty for the senior bar.
Yeah, he looks like he's in some pain, although he doesn't seem to be completely out of it, which is good news. Either way, we do have penalties on the field. We'll recap that for you in a second. I don't think he's going to be able to stand up on his own here.
Yeah,
he looks like he needs some help.
You hate to see this, and I would argue that of all the players that Jenkins could ill afford to lose with all that talent, I think DeMazio Harris, while he may not be the best player on this Jenkins team, I think he's probably their most valuable player.
I think you won this game for them tonight.
Well, you just look at their defense and all that talent, and when you have so much talent, you don't want to lose anybody, but if one guy goes down, you've got players that can step up and fill that void. He makes this offense go. He makes everything work.
Well, I am impressed that he's able to walk off the field on his own, because the way his leg bent back on that tackle, I was worried it broke.
Yeah, let's hope that's a good sign for him.
All right, so there was a penalty on the ground, a flag from Jenkins. Unsportsmanlike conduct, personal foul, I think is what I heard. So as this clock runs at 6:20 to go, 2nd down and 25 after the loss of 15. And Hall is now the running back. Blake to throw to the far side. Screen play, and it looked like BC was waiting for it. No gain on the play, back to the line of scrimmage. 3rd down.
It's another great job by this Benedictine defense. I have been legitimately impressed with how they've played in the second half. It would have been so easy to hang your head and quit coming out of the locker room.
Yep.
And they haven't. They've played great. They have played lights out.
Agreed.
A couple mistakes here and there, but, man, it's been light years different from the first half. And I genuinely believe this will give them a lot of momentum going into the postseason. The way they've played against this offense, this very talented offense for a half of football, that's got to give them some confidence in a game that the scoreboard would indicate not that confidence inspiring.
Okay, assuming DeMazio Harris is not hurt in a way that will impact him next week, I'd be interested to see how Jenkins does. Good screenplay here. Not good enough, though. Big 4th down coming up. All right, so when you think about AAA and Georgia football, you know you have your Cedar Groves and those teams up near Atlanta, which are technically smaller suburbs that just have so much money and talent in them that makes it awfully hard to play. Is this Jenkins team a Final Four team? They made the Final Four a couple years ago.
I think they have the potential to be because of the defensive line. And if this offensive line continues to play the way they've played tonight, that's going to be the difference, is at the highest level, the very best teams Yeah, they might have some elite skill talent, but they're better than everyone else in the trenches on both sides of the ball. We know Jenkins can compete with the very best in the state on the defensive line. If this offensive line against this Benedictine defense plays the way that they have, they can compete with just about anybody.
Short kick flies out of bounds around the 30-yard line, and that's where BC will take back over. Okay, on the Benedictine side, what kind of run do we see BC making? Because I'm not as worried about the fact that they haven't been able to find their receivers, because not every team they play in the playoffs is going to withstand Broadnecks and Stewart the way they have. But I don't know if this is an Elite Eight team for Jenkins. This might smell like a second-round team to me. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe. Ultimately, I think a lot of it's up to up to Benedictine.
Yeah.
But I think they have a limited ceiling this year. Now, this is going to be a force to be reckoned with as this team matures. They have a limited ceiling this year, but if they can avoid self-inflicted wounds, unlike we saw for the first half tonight, if they can avoid hurting themselves, they can be a good team. They can be a tough out. It's when the mistakes start to compile that you see outcomes like this.
Second down and 14. They're going to let Garner throw into double coverage. Went to Broadnecks, incomplete, and that was an awfully tight window to try to throw into. But see, no harm, no foul. Third down, whatever.
Yeah, and that's the thing that you're going to see with these young, talented kids is the decision-making might not be all the way there yet, or the touch, the accuracy, but you just want the tools. If you're a college quarterback coach that has any faith in themselves whatsoever and you see Holden Garner throw a football, you can't help but think, oh my God, I can make this kid as good as he wants to be.
He's going to have not a lot of sleep tonight because, like we said at the top of the broadcast, he's got an official invite to Bama LSU tomorrow, and that was actually not his fault. That was a pretty good throw just off the hands of his man.
And then we've seen that a couple of times tonight as well. Yeah, he's missed some guys, but on the flip side, we've seen his receivers drop passes, and I have a hard time even faulting them. It's been so difficult for anybody to secure the ball. Yeah, both sides. I mean, the ball's been ball's been on the turf all night long.
Fourth down, Garner out of the gun. Why not? They bring a linebacker. Good blocking off the hands of Broadnecks. That would have been a first down, and that's a turnover. And some of the BC fans have started to file out starting at halftime, but that is one that's just had a couple people stand up and head to the car.
Yeah, I mean, you just hate to see all these drops. It is unfortunate. I think Benedictine's probably better suited to that downfield passing game where Jenkins is, yes, they can throw the ball downfield really effectively. We've seen Blake do that all night tonight, or a couple times tonight.
Yep.
But they also pick up a lot of yards after the catch, screen passes, swing passes. When you're trying to mount a comeback, you have to be able to throw the ball downfield. It's, this weather's just not conducive to that.
True. Okay, so good field position for Jenkins. 32-yard line. Damazio Harris out for the rest of this one. Hopefully not injured for the playoff run that is to come. And I think this is certainly an Elite Eight team for Jenkins, and maybe even Final Four. This is just so much a more complete defense than they had 2 years ago with that team led by Javonte Middleton. Play action, Blake for his third touchdown. Not gonna get it. Very close though, down to the 1 or the 2 yard line. Great throw from Patrick Blake.
Yeah, Blake is just what you want for this offense. He's such a good decision maker, I think, and that extends to the running the ball as well. We've seen him call his own number a couple times tonight. He's done a good job making reads on the option plays and obviously throwing the ball pretty well.
First and goal, it's Hall, touchdown Jenkins. That's their first touchdown of the second half, and this thing's all but done.
Hall for the touchdown.
Jenkins won back-to-back region championships in 2016 and 2017 for the first time in decades. Last year, Benedictine joined the region, took it away, and Jenkins is about to get it back tonight.
Yeah, it just came out of nowhere a handful of years ago. to really build something special, went on that great playoff run, and they've capitalized on the momentum, I think, of those earlier teams. This, to me, though, is their best team yet.
I would say that pretty much everyone would agree, including former head coaches like Tim Adams. All right, that one is up, and it is good. 34-9 is our score with 3:28 to go. Let's take a look at that sequence. Great throw from Blake. Love seeing that. All right, we do want to take a quick second here on WSAV to take note of some of the news regarding Jenkins these last couple of weeks. As you know, the Islands High School Sharks had 6 wins stripped because of GHSA violations. Jenkins got reported, and the GHSA, luckily for Jenkins, totally cleared them this week. So as they start this playoff run as region championships, Jim, good news is for them, they don't have to worry. They're all clear.
Well, it's nice to go ahead and have that out of the way ahead of the postseason run, because I know there had been a lot of speculation about that in light of what happened to Islands. So to get that out of the way before you try to make a run to the state championship, I mean, that's huge. I think that's just one less thing you got to worry about.
Kickoffs tonight brought to you by the law firm of Farah and Farah. That's actually one of Jenkins' better kicks down to the 26-27 yard line. Here comes Broadnax on the return, turns back behind a couple of blockers. Gets to about the 40 before he's run out of bounds. Okay, and that's exactly right. In fact, I'll take you behind the curtain here. We were worried a couple weeks ago when we saw what happened to Islands. A lot of folks at WSAV, myself included, were worried, okay, so that just happened to Islands. Is this going to end the region championship? Because is Jenkins going to have all their wins stripped? Luckily for them, the answer is no, and they get to move forward to the playoffs, not even having that on their mind. Because even if you know you didn't do anything wrong, if the GHSA hasn't formally cleared you yet, that's still in the back of your mind if you're playing playoff games and it's unresolved.
Yeah, and I'm glad the GHSA went ahead and did that. I'm glad they didn't drag their feet, because it was a legitimate concern, I think, for a lot of people, warranted or not. I mean, after what happened to Islands, you couldn't help but think that there was a potential chance that it would happen to Jenkins as well, and that's going to be in the back of these kids' minds. No doubt about it.
Off the hands of Gavin Stewart. Really great throw. Just overshot him by 2 yards.
I think that's been the story of the night. Just off the hands or just out of the hands.
Yeah. Or caught and fumbled it away. Yeah, Danny Britt is not going to have a fun post-game locker room speech, I'll tell you that much. This is a guy who's won state championships at Benedictine before, based on teams that are executing every little thing on every single play, and this is the loosest we have seen BC play in years, and that post-game locker room speech is not going to be a fun place to be, I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, I think it boils down more than anything else to a little bit of a dearth of leadership. There's nobody really that stepped up and filled the void left behind by some of the seniors who left last year, and he's always had a couple of guys that are, yes, great players, but also great leaders on and off the field, and I think there's plenty of talent here, but it's young talent. So developing them as players, that's what he'll do, but there's nothing but time, I don't think, and being a part of the program that can help them to reach their potential as leaders, and clean up some of the discipline stuff. It's just stuff that takes time. It's something that comes with maturity, and it's easier said than done.
All right, unfortunately, another injury timeout on the field, but speaking of this Jenkins defense, so much of this special part of it is how great the senior class is. Let's hear about that.
Definitely excited, but at the same time, this group is so unique that nothing's ever too big or too small for them. We traveled to Calhoun last year, game 13, and you would think it was the same as game 1, which is a good thing. I think if they were too excited or too down, I'd kind of be concerned, but they've pretty much been even-keeled the entire time.
Yeah, they really have. This senior class has been through so much together, a couple of playoff runs, Jim, and I'll tell you what, to get to finish off a regular season as seniors with an absolute beatdown of Benedictine is cherry on top.
Yeah, and just like I was talking about for Benedictine, the lack of leadership, or these guys are young guys, they're going to get there. Obviously, this is going to be a force to be reckoned with in the future. For Jenkins, this is their year. You wait for a senior class like this, and they don't come along that often. This is a special group, and they have the potential to make a special run.
Jenkins pass incomplete, coming up 4th down and 10.
second down and 10 coming up after the incompletion, and they're finally giving Garner the green light to just throw it. But although on plays like that, as you saw, considering the wind is making it so hard to pass, as you can see with the flag, part of it too is even if you're dumping off a screen pass, the closing speed of these future college players on Jenkins, like you'd be lucky to get 2 yards.
Yeah, it's hard to throw with the wind. It's hard to catch it with the ball, and even if you do, Darius Bush is going to be there as soon as it hits your hands.
Coverage off the hands of McKinney on 4th down. Turnover. Not a bad pass, actually, from Garner in the wind.
Not good ball. Should have been called, would have been called a week ago. Not called tonight.
And Jenkins gets the ball back. You got to think this is going to be the beginning of the end, running the clock down inside 3 minutes. Okay, so home playoff games for both of these two teams. You do have to wonder how that's going to work. Maybe one of them plays in Pooler. We'll find out next week. Although Savannah Country Day has their own stadium, Savannah Christian plays at Pooler. So we'll find out stadium situations by Monday. Good run stopped by the Benedictine defenses. The clock will tick down inside 2:30. I like both of these teams to win pretty comfortably in the first round, just considering Georgia has won too many rounds of the football playoffs, and the first round is always a blowout.
Yeah, I would think so, Ryan. Both of these teams earning home playoff seeds, one seed, 2 seed. It would be stunning. I mean, frankly, stunning for either one to drop it in the first round.
I make a case on the Thursday Blitz Countdown high school football talk show every year that we should actually be eliminating one whole round of the playoffs because there's never any upsets in the first round. Do you agree?
Probably, or maybe if you adopted some sort of, like the FCS playoffs, 24 teams, first round of buys maybe for the top 8 seeds. 32 is too many. I don't know that you have to go to 16, but I think 24 would at least be a step in the right direction.
Ryan on the carry for Jenkins. We go back 2. And we're up 3rd down.
All right, down inside 1:30 to go here as they picked up a yard on the play. 3rd down and 9 coming up here. And I'll tell you, we're probably going to end up picking the running game for Jenkins as our Farrah and Farrah top performer. But I do want to send a shout out to Patrick Blake out of the gun for Jenkins tonight. He has really been impressive. He'll Steve off the linebackers. Look at that. That's a really gutsy throw. First down's not going to come of it. To sidearm sling going horizontally like that and find his wideout. Very impressive.
Yeah, Blake's been near perfect tonight, and he does have a little bit of creativity to his game that is reminiscent. We mentioned Javonte Middleton a couple times tonight, Greg, and he's a little bit reminiscent of that in that he does have some escapability. He's able to improvise outside of the pocket, and yet he can also play within the confines of the offense. Just kind of exactly what Jenkins needs at any given moment in any situation. At least that's what he's been for them tonight.
All right, 4th down coming, and it looks like we probably do have to get one more play off to end this game with the play clock. And we do. 10 seconds on the play clock, 26 seconds on the game clock. So we'll see what they end up doing. BC might have to get one more play off on the other side of this 4th down. 1st down. Not a touchdown, went down at the 15. Good sportsmanship. And as soon as they put the stakes in the ground, I like that. Good sportsmanship, run the clock. And this will be a knee or a run from Jenkins to end this thing. And as they file out of the stands here at Memorial Stadium, folks, we didn't see it coming like this. Jenkins retakes the AAA Region 3 championship on WSAV, 34-9. We got a lot to talk about in this postgame show next. Stay here.
Welcome back to the WSAV CW Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week. Now, the Farrah and Farrah postgame show.
Region championship trophy for the Jenkins Warriors. And what a blowout fashion they did it in. 34-9 on top of the reigning region champs, the Benedictine Cadets. Greg Talbot, Jim Johnson on hand. We called this one for you. We didn't see it happening that way, Jim.
No, not like that at all. I'm not sure we were stunned by the result, but the fashion in which it happened, that was remarkable.
I think we were all thinking like Jenkins 21-18. We didn't see, just remarkable. But really, that tended to be because of a couple big plays that Jenkins made early in the game. Let's go ahead and take a look at our Farrah and Farrah top play of the game. And although we'll talk more about DiMaggio Harris in the postgame show, our Farrah and Farrah play of the game, Patrick Blake to Ronald Cooper.
Yeah, and Patrick Blake had a great game. That was one of the balls where when it first came out, I was like, oh, that's a little questionable, a little dicey. What a play by Cooper to just go out and get it.
Yeah, the Navy commit made a couple plays on special teams and defense tonight, but this was the great one, and really the touch from Blake was amazing.
Yeah, just saw his receiver had a 50-50 ball basically, and when you have an FBS caliber player, you can trust him on those 50-50s, because at that point it ain't 50-50, it's like 75-25.
Yeah, no kidding. The Farrah top performer of the game, or top play of the game, is brought to you by the law firm of Farrah and Farrah. Here for you, here for good. Speaking of Farrah and Farrah, on the other side of the break, we'll bring you our top performer of the game, brought to you by them.
Welcome back. Now, more of the WSAV CW Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week, Farrah and Farrah postgame show.
Couple options for tonight's Farrah and Farrah top performer of the game. Not really. Here with the star running back, and based on a game where we saw so many absolute senior stars from Jenkins, it was the junior running back, DiMaggio Harris, transferred in from Windsor Forest in the offseason. Tonight showed why his running back game has taken this team from great to possible state title contender. DiMaggio, man, take me through this game. You guys, first of all, as a team, looked great, but take a look at your plays, take a look at your stats, 140 yards, pair of touchdowns. Do you guys feel like kings? Hold on, DiMaggio. I'm going to put a headset on you here. That microphone's not working. Go ahead, bud.
We're here all summer working with our linemen. It's been a hard grind. I just praise God, and I give my linemen all the praise for everything that happened tonight.
Okay, so it's funny. We want to talk about your offensive linemen. People talk about the fact that, like, 10 kids on this team for Jenkins have college offers, and it's the defense. We'll talk about the defense all the time. Your offensive linemen were making you look like an NFL running back tonight.
Yes.
Why? They deserve more shine, right? What do they do for you?
They deserve way more shine. They keep protected. Anything happen wrong, they're the first one there to pick me up. And walking around, we just always together. We just stay together.
All right, man. So, region championships. You guys won that back from Benedictine tonight.
Yes.
Public school versus private school. You guys respect each other. You guys don't like each other that much. Does that feel good to steal that back tonight?
Feel very good.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Playoffs up next. How far can this team go?
State.
State champions?
State champions.
All right. DiMaggio Harris, Farrah and Farrah, top performer of the game.
Yes, sir.
Let's get Jason Cameron, head coach of the Jenkins Warriors, in here for a second. Coach, we're just going to hand this off to you. By the way, the postgame show tonight brought to you by the law firm of Farrah and Farrah. Here for you, here for good. All right, Coach, we all thought that Jenkins probably had the better roster tonight. I saw you earlier this week. We interviewed you at practice. You said that you guys needed to play consistently. I would say you did, based on that start.
We did. You know, we preach discipline, and you know, a lot of people, you know, and BC, like I always say, they define discipline, and that's what that we do. That's the only thing I did once I took over the program, was just bring a level of discipline to this program that it never had, and we showed it tonight. You know, limited penalties, limited mental mistakes. We had a few drops and a few mistakes here and there, but nothing was mental, which we pride ourselves on.
Oh, we're gonna have 1 second. There you go. Just the people at home can hear you a little bit better.
Gotcha.
Okay, so obviously, you know Danny Britt, coaches in Savannah tend to like each other, but the idea of these kids, after coming up together, this senior class has always been so special to you. They're such a great group. For them to cap off an undefeated region play here against Benedictine, there must be a certain level of satisfaction in the fact that it wasn't just against, like, no offense to Johnson.
Yeah, you know, we respect BC a ton. You know, they're a very similar program to us. I respect Coach Britt and his staff. They do a phenomenal job. And, again, whoever did the scheduling did a great job.
Yeah.
Game 10 for the region championship, 2 best teams in the city. You know, it's a great accomplishment for us.
That first drive, you think what?
It just set the tone. You know, we receive 90% of the time, even though how good our defense is. But,
you know, you march down and score on a team. You can take their heart right from the first drive.
You kind of did.
And you know, during the pregame speech and all week, it was just value every play because you don't know what play could decide this football game.
Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights. Patrick Blake was really great tonight. People talked all night about DeMazio Harris, deservedly so. Patrick made a couple college-level throws.
Patrick Blake is the most improved player in this region.
Yeah.
I hugged him after the game, and that's what I told him. I could not be more proud of that young man. And I just told Dennis Knight, I believe he's the best quarterback in the region. That ball is a Division I ball right there.
No kidding. And the one that he got to Ronald Cooper as well, that was our fair and fair top performer of the game. All right, speaking of the ball getting a little bit loose and interceptions and stuff, I want to ask you, I was playing catch before the game on the field. That ball was cold.
Yes.
And there was no humidity. Why was that ball so slippery tonight?
See, I don't know. It just, you kind of saw it for both teams a little bit. You know, I think that, you know, they fumbled on a kickoff that they called down, but it was just the first time we really played in football weather, you can call it. You know, it got a little cold tonight, and the ball just gets a little slick. Yeah, that ball is on the money again, you know.
Really just amazing. And then going for it to 2 points so you guys can get it to 21. I'll tell you.
See, we value plays like this. This is stuff we do
great.
PAT every day in practice. We do fire, what we call it, on a bad snap every day of practice. So that is a head coach that makes you happy right there.
Yeah, really, you guys were unafraid to throw into the teeth of that Jenkins, that Benedictine defense tonight. And we talked all the time for years about this senior class for Jenkins, but I'll tell you, DeMazio Harris, he took this team from what, 80 to 95?
Yeah, you know, he's a difference maker. You know what I'm saying? He's a great kid. What you don't understand about this kid is that he ran for 1,000 yards on 100 carries.
At Windsor, yeah.
Here. You know,
year,
and my thing is, and that's why he's able to carry the ball double-digit times now, because he's fresh.
He walked up here okay. We saw the injury on the field. Bent his knee in a way that did not look good, but the fact that he was walking tonight, it looks like he's okay?
Yeah, he's okay.
All right, so moving forward, playoff time for you guys. The furthest Jenkins has been was the Elite Eight a couple years ago under that Javante Middleton team, and that was something special.
And last year, yeah.
Yeah. I think everyone who's honest with themselves understands that, yes, draw has something to do with it, and yet this team is something special, Coach. How far can they go?
Sky's the limit, you know. And then once again, we're gonna just go back to work on Monday, and everybody's 0-0. I don't know who we're playing. We're actually matched up with that at-large bid, so I'm not really sure who it's even going to be. And we're going to go to work as coaches are going to go back to work, and Monday we're 0-0, and it's a brand new season.
All right, region champions stealing it back from the Benedictine Cadets after BC won it last year. Head coach of the Warriors, Jason Cameron, man, that's a heck of a way to end the regular season. Jenkins takes down Benedictine 34-9, your final score. And Jenkins finishes off an undefeated region run. Only one loss on the regular season. That was early on to South Effingham. Coach, congratulations,
yes, sir.
man.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
All right, folks. Well, that is it this year on the regular season for the Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week. We had a couple stupendous, spectacular high school football games. We went to some of the best atmospheres that you could ever ask for around here. We had that Effingham-South Effingham game. We had some absolutely unforgettable finishes like Johnson County, Savannah Country Day, that game that kicked at the very end as time ran out for the Hornets. And we'd been leading all year to this game. I don't think we saw it going quite this way, but it just goes to show exactly what you know to be true about high school football in this part of Georgia, which is that you have so much talent, you have so many kids, so many unforgettable coaches, and yet you step into the ring every week. We pick the game that we think is best, and it still ends up being kind of a wild card. You never know how it's going to go because it's high school football, but that ends up being what is so special about the WSAV Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week. I want to take a second to thank everybody who was part of our broadcast team all year, including Dan Flaxer, our producer-director, and our director of production, Jerry Perlman. We have some credits I'm being told that we want to run to thank everyone who's been a part of our Friday Night Blitz Game of the Week crew all year. So for everyone, I'm WSAV Sports Director Greg Talbot saying thank you so much for joining us this year. It has been a phenomenal year. We'll see you for the playoffs on the WSAV Friday Night Blitz Fridays at 11:15. Thank you so much.
Won't you let